O Show. This is the Big 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 O Show. This.
So here's the putting green. See? There you go. Got two flags. One is over there where Cutter's Edge Pro. It's not coming out now. Come on. Come on, wind. Give me a little wind. No, unfortunately. But there you go. And this one says Big O here. There you go. So there's my putting green. It's about, I would say about 25 feet, something like that. I get to practice, have a little fun. See? And then, of course, we got, the bunkers. Gotta have the bunkers, man. Got all kinds of bunkers there. You know what I'm saying? So that's a taste of our backyard. There's Maiden right there. Maiden. Bono, how you doing, Bono? Bono. He's a Carolina dog, by the way. These dogs are amazing. Their temperaments are awesome. But there is the Sylvester Palm, which is just beautiful. All right, call my guys, Will and Mike at Cutter's Edge Pro. They will take care of you. Dogs are not included, okay? Can't include the dogs. Those are mine. But the exceptional work, oh, baby. Oh, baby. Yes. Make your home an oasis. CuttersEdgePro.com. Go to their Instagram page, by the way, so you can see a lot of the before and after work that they do. And it is exceptional, baby. This thing's been on here for about 9 months. No grass growing through it or anything like that. Right, Bono? Huh? Bono!
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Friday. Good morning, boys and girls. Ready to rock and roll and have some fun here on the show. Yes, man, this is an exciting day today because it's almost like you just want to get to the evening and watch the Heat and watch the Panthers do their thing tonight. Panthers got a chance at eliminating Toronto and moving on. The Heat have a chance to eliminate the Knicks and move on. One's got a 3-0 lead. The other one's got a 3-1 lead. So doesn't get any better than what we got going on tonight. We can have 2 elimination games tonight. It's pretty impressive. Obviously, the one that the Panthers are doing is slightly more impressive, that they're on the brink of sweeping Toronto, which is just, none of us saw this. None of us saw any of this coming. You know what I'm saying? What's going on here is just so odd. And by the way, the Vegas has the Knicks favored by 3.5 tonight. I don't know what Vegas sees in this one, because I don't see the Knicks as a team that is focused on winning. So it's kind of, I kind of see them demoralized, actually. That's kind of what I saw in the last game, that there wasn't enough fire to get in it. So I saw that was kind of odd. And then tonight we got the Panthers and the Maple Leafs at 7 o'clock. So you'll have a half hour of hockey before you've got then the decision. Can you watch both, or do you have to go either or whatever? Does anybody do picture-in-picture anymore? Remember that? Picture-in-picture was the coolest thing back in the day, right? Oh, yeah, no, I got a TV with picture-in-picture. Oh, yeah, it's cool. But you couldn't even see that little screen anyway. You know what I mean? It was just one of those deals like, yeah, I got picture-in-picture, but, dude, it's like so small. It's hard for me to even see what's going on in that other screen, in that picture in the picture. So it was a cool feature, but as time went on, you realized not so cool. Not so cool. I'm going to have to be like right in front of the television in order to enjoy the picture in the picture. Anyway, so we got that going on tonight. So we've got Maple Leafs and Panthers at 7, Heat and Knicks at 7:30, and then Lakers and Warriors later on in the evening. Last night, the Leprechauns. The thing about the 76ers Celtics series, at least for the Heat, there's no fear at all of them. You know what I mean? Miami can beat both of them. Could they lose to either one? Of course. But it's not it's not like, it's a complete mismatch or anything like that. Yeah, man. I don't fear either one of those teams. And the Celtics have some talent, but they're not playing the kind of basketball that they were playing last year. And the 76ers are not necessarily a team that I necessarily fear either if I'm the Miami Heat. So, you know, just one of those deals. And I caught up with a little Ted Lasso yesterday. Really good episode yesterday with Ted Lasso. Got to admit. I mean, it's a great show, period. But really, really good episode yesterday. Catching up with the little Ted Lasso. By the way, Sean, let's take out a little victory cigar. Let's, Mr. Nick Perdomo. Why? Well, Inter Miami advances to the round of 16 in the U.S. Open Cup. Now, we got to thank Juan Palma, poor kid from the Charleston Battery. It was an own goal. Face job on his part. Boy, I don't know if his face really hurt that much or it was that he was that embarrassed, and that's why he stayed on the pitch so long face down. You know what I'm saying? But Inter wins 1-0. Give me that victory cigar. Good one there. So they advance to the round of 16, which will be on May 23rd or 24th. We don't know yet who the opponent is, so we will find out. Not a lot of people there. Just a suggestion to the people at Inter. We don't have smart soccer fans in town. We don't have educated soccer fans in town, and we don't have a ton of U.S. soccer fans in town. Let me put it that way, because I don't want to say international soccer, because there's a shit ton of people that love international soccer. You know, plenty of people say, oh, yeah, no, I love my Liverpool. Oh, I love my Arsenal. Oh, I love my Barcelona. Oh, I love whatever, right? So you have plenty of that. Plenty of people rooting for Colombia and Argentina and Brazil and all that good stuff, and Jamaica and Haiti and, but not a lot of people root for U.S. soccer and much less for MLS or anything else, USL or anything else that goes on in this country. So, since most people don't even know too much about the U.S. Open Cup, you can't charge $23 a ticket. You can't. That's why you had nobody there. That's why you had a couple of diehards there. Charge $10 an adult, 2 for $20, kids free. Last night was a night, just, a little tip for the people at Inter. They don't need it. That's fine. I don't care. But on a game like this, not an MLS game, this is a game where you allow kids to get in free with the adults, right? You charge the adults $10. Hell, they bring a Heater Panthers ticket, digital ticket, whatever. You give them half off, charge them $5 to get in. They're going to buy Cokes and beers and who knows, shirts, hats, whatever. But last night in a U.S. Open Cup where it's the Charleston Battery, dude, this is an opportunity for you to showcase your team, your stadium, everything. Why are you charging $23 to get in for a U.S. Open Cup game? It's ridiculous, dude. You're going to lose money anyway. So if you're going to lose money, well, then try to bring in a crowd, man. Maybe some normal people can't go to the regular MLS game, but a guy, that's working hard and a mom working hard and they don't have a lot of money, they could have taken their kid last night. All 4 of them could have gone for $20 to get in. The 2 parents get in for $20. The 2 kids get in for free. And then they probably would have spent some money in there and you would have made some money on the concessions and everything else. But give yourself a chance to bring people in so you can actually showcase the team, showcase the beautiful stadium, all that kind of stuff. I saw that and it's like, I saw Panizo tweet, oh, there's nobody here. And I go, yeah, well, you're charging $23 for the ticket. That was the cheapest ticket yesterday. Just did a disservice to yourself. That's all. You got to understand that you're also in the process
The Heat did a very good job over the years of educating people and getting them being understanding the game of basketball, the NBA, and all that stuff from the second they got here as years went on. And then, the entire community embraced it. So you're going to be a great franchise. I know the Moss brothers will do a great job, but in a situation like this, last night, you can't go charging $23 for that ticket, bro. Can't. Try to lure a bunch of people in. Give tickets away to schools. Make that a school night game last night. You got a bunch of Broward schools right around close by. Hand out a couple thousand. You weren't going to fill up the place anyways. I don't know. I would have gotten creative with the U.S. Open Cup game, but what the hell? What do I know? And give me that victory cigar for the Miami Marlins, Sean Stanley. Love to the Marlins. They beat the D-backs 6-2. The rubber match will be today. So let's see what happens at 3:40 at Chase Field. Yesterday, Luzardo got the win, improves to 3-2, went 6 innings, allowed 7 hits and 1 earned run and 5 Ks. Jorge Soler, baby, he heard those Yankee rumors and he cranked out 2 more home runs. He's got 9 on the season, got a 3-run job in the 2nd inning and a 2-run job in the 5th inning. And a robust average of 234 for the young man. But he is Marlins waiting for that moment to move him to the Yankees and pick up some kind of a prospect, because that's what they do. But Soler with two dingers yesterday and 5 RBIs. Today it'll be Edward Cabrera, by the way, on the mound, 2-3, 4.78 ERA, and Merrill Kelly, 3-3, 2.75 ERA. So nice job by the Miami Marlins to get a victory. Let's see if they can win the series tonight. This afternoon, that is. Yes, 4-game winning streak for Inter. Yes, you are correct. 2 MLS, 2 U.S. Open Cup. So technically, it's a 2-game winning streak in the MLS because that's where it was. But I get it. We'll throw in the 2 U.S. Open Cup games, and we'll go with 4 in a row. Okay. Not that it took an own goal yesterday to beat the Charleston Battery. I will say this. The Charleston Battery, one of my favorite kits of all time. I love their jerseys. Always, dude. It's like there's a part of me that wants to go to a Rochester Rhinos game, a Pittsburgh Riverhounds game, and a Charleston Battery game, because these are the 3 of the classic soccer teams that have been in this country for a long time, and USL, minor league, whatever, but they actually have good support and stuff like that. They usually draw pretty well over the years. I don't know. By the way, is Lisa do the Rochester Rhinos still get good crowds there or something up there in Rochester? I wonder if they do. I don't even know if you even care about it or follow it at all, Lisa, because I know I see her there on the chat board. Her and I know Ragin are from that area, so I know but Rochester Rhinos, Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and the Charleston Battery are just 3 classic teams, man, that have been in in the United States for a while. So it's pretty cool. Cool logos. Usually they would have good support, local support from their teams. So not sure how it still goes if they average. Can you find that out for me, Sean? What do the Rochester Rhinos, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, I don't even know if they're still around, and the Charleston Battery, who was here last night, I think they actually get decent attendance and everything. Lisa says, Rhinos are no longer. We have the Rochester Lancers now, and Rochester FC is supposed to start up soon.
Aha. So are the Lancers in the USL? Or will the Rochester FC be in the USL? So the Rhinos are gone. How about that? The Rhinos were a classic, dude. I am shocked. And the Rhinos used to actually get good attendance. It's amazing. Big O, good morning. Miami-Dade College baseball has advanced to their third straight Final Four. We begin play on Friday in Lakeland. Let's bring the title home and a shot at the World Series. Very cool. Very cool. Miami-Dade over the years has had some pretty good baseball teams, man, over the decades. That is. So there you go. Just rewatch the highlights of the KC 2020 game, man. I cannot wait. You're talking about Miami and KC in Germany, I guess. Yes, we will definitely talk about that. Local recreational soccer teams in South Florida should actually be provided a discount to all Exactly. Boca United, him or she, yes, I totally agree. Totally agree. And you should support your local soccer teams. Okay? I do. By the way, I bought a him or she jersey. Do me a favor, Sean. Give me 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds here, quickly. For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Well, when you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at Caneswear.com or InnerMiamiWear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
You played the open again. That was good. I couldn't find my him or she. I went through two closets and I couldn't find my damn him or she jersey. Yeah. They have a couple really nice jerseys. So
the 30 seconds turned into 2 minutes, so I had to start the intro.
I couldn't find the damn jersey, and I know I have it somewhere in one of my closets, and I probably overlooked it or something in the search. But I wanted to show it off because it's a really cool jersey. And we should support our local soccer teams, like Boca and him or she and some of the other ones out there that we have here in town. If you are a local fan, you know what I mean? Lisa says Rhinos games used to. Lancers are NPSL. I got it now. What was that?
Pittsburgh Riverhounds was the team you were asking about? Is that the?
Yes.
Their attendance is about 3,378.
All right, not bad. 3,300. Okay.
And
Oh, it's
the
a
one
sub
from
from
and the one
26.
from yesterday,
Hold on.
Charleston.
Yeah.
Charleston probably does a little better, actually. By the way, that's Charleston? What, like South Carolina? I would imagine. I wonder where that Charleston is. That's probably Charleston, South Carolina, right? Is that what it is? Anyway,
I would
who
guess.
was
What
the
is
guy?
Charleston again? What is it? Charleston Battery?
Yeah, the Charleston Battery. Yes, yes. Two at times asking who was the guy in the chat who said Lakers were going to the championship, and I argue with him. I have no idea. But you know what? Anyone can go to the championship. That's the thing about this basketball season. We all got fooled with this stinking basketball season. And now, the regular season means less than ever. That's exactly what the NBA, the Miami Heat have told us. Why are we watching the regular season? Guys don't play in the regular season for a majority of the time. So you have a whole bunch of people missing time constantly. You never get to see what they really are. And then all of a sudden here comes the postseason, and everything's completely different. And the way we were looking at things, the way the Heat was playing, that they were barely making it into the playoffs, we're thinking, yeah, they can't hang with the top teams. And then we start looking at how the top teams are playing and then how the Heat now are playing. And it's like, well, what the hell is this, dude? None of this makes any sense. And it just hasn't made any sense whatsoever. That's the refreshing part for us as Heat fans, because we go into a postseason like, whatever. They'll be out in a week or two and we'll be, I was expecting like a boring off season. Because we're not getting a lot of football movement right now. And I'm thinking, okay, so the Heat and the Panthers are going to be eliminated quickly, and they're going to take on the Bruins, and they're screwed, whatever. And then look what ends up happening. The Panthers eliminate the favorites to win the cup. Then they're about to eliminate the favorites to win the cup, and now they're becoming the favorites to win the cup. What the hell is this? You mean the team that needed help to get in, the team that needed some guy named Alex Lyon, a journeyman, to play like he's never played in his life, to help him to sneak into the playoffs, and the team that snuck into the back door of the playoffs is all of a sudden not going to win the Stanley Cup? None of this makes any sense. And the amazing part about the Heat and the Heat and the Panthers, I kind of live in reality. I try to live in reality. It doesn't mean I'm going to figure it out all the time, of course, because I'm far from perfect. I'm going to get fooled myself. But I kind of live in reality, that I see what it is, and I don't try to create a fantasy that's not there, right? But for that friend of yours that tells you, hey, man, anything can happen. It's the playoffs. Well, this is the season to tell you that friend of yours that's had that attitude that, okay, even if it looks terrible, hey, bro, slate is clean. You just never know. And your team has been kind of shitty all year long. They barely got into the playoffs. They're playing against a juggernaut, and you think you got no shot. Well, you know what? The University of Miami getting to the Final Four. FAU getting to the Final Four. You know what I mean? And then you're watching these two teams in the Panthers and the Heat do things that they didn't do in the regular season, play like they never played in the regular season, and all of a sudden they never looked like contenders. Now they look like contenders. You're like, what the hell is going on? It's just, this is where those of us that are, pretty brutal like I am, we got to ease up a little bit now. And we got to kind of say, okay,
doesn't matter what it looked like. It's the playoffs. We now have examples of how the Marlins in 03 beating the Yankees and all that was stupendous. It was just sick to be able to do that, right? Of course. But the difference with the Marlins and the Heat and the Panthers, okay, the Marlins were the best team in the majors from May 1st on. They were smoking hot, dude, from May 1st on. So from May 1st to September 30th, they were the best team in baseball. So when they got into the playoffs, everybody kind of knew what they were already, even though they were a young upstart team that they really shouldn't win at all. But people knew like they had some players that are doing some damage. And so they were a dangerous team in that sense. The Panthers and the Heat did not go into the playoffs, and people were looking at them like we weren't even looking at them. Forget their opponents. We weren't even looking at them as dangerous. And now Jimmy Butler is the best player in the playoffs now, and all that kind of stuff, and the culture taking over and all that. You know what I mean? Plus, we do have heat and humidity in our arena compared to others. All you got to do is ask the idiots at ESPN. By the way, I will never, ever listen to Jalen Rose again, ever. Once you say you say something stupid, I say something stupid, that's fine. But a former player that actually played the game say something stupid like that, Greeny says stupid shit all the time. Like, I never listen to Greeny anyways. You know what I'm saying? Greeny's as lost in sports as it gets, pretty much. Well, I've seen a little worse. We got it locally here, but I've seen people that are on radio and really know nothing about sports. So yeah, it's kind of, So, but yeah, Greeny says I'm used to Mike Greenberg saying a lot of stupid shit. So that's why I never listen to Mike Greenberg, because he always says a lot of stupid shit. But when Jalen Rose says it, dude, you played. Like, really? You're going to say that? So that's the thing about this whole twist here, that they have done something to us that we've just never seen before. It's crazy. And it's unpredictable, and it's one of those things that you kind of have to readjust, Pat in Nashville says, one day we need to see the 17 closets, that house with all the concert tees and the hat collections. Yeah. I mean, it's not a lot of tees. It's a few tees. Yeah. A couple jerseys. But I kind of show them to you every day. By the way, we got our Essential Moving experts. Notice how you got to love Sean Williams at Essential Moving Experts, because I see the billboard up, and I've got his shirt on, and it's orange. His shirts are either orange or aqua. You think he's a Dolphins fan and owns a moving company here in this country? By the way, Sean will move you anywhere from city to city, inside the county, from state to state, across the country. Doesn't matter. And if you're moving your home or your office somewhere and where you're moving to is not ready yet, might be ready in a week or 2 weeks or a month, they will actually store your goods for up to a month on the house. Now, if you need it 2, 3, 4 months, then you can negotiate that with Essential Moving Experts, and they'll put that in storage for you for a couple of months until you get to move into your new business, your new place, those kind of things. So Essential Moving Experts, man, call my guy Sean Williams, big Dolphins fan. He loves his Dolphins, dude. All right, so call him 386-213-4054, essentialmovingexperts.com. By the way, Omar Kelly will be joining us at noon with our essentialmovingexperts.com Miami Dolphins exchange. Dougie Fresh is asking, what will become more valuable for Santos in prison? His training as a Green Beret Special Ops Combat Specialist, or a secret ninja skill he learned in Okinawa banned by our government. I'm going to go with Green Beret Special Ops Combat Specialist because, remember, he also was with Stallone in those what's it called, The Irreplaceables or whatever that movie is called. Yeah, he was in number 3 of the Irreplaceables, Unreplaceables, what are they called? Something like that. Rejectables or something. Yeah. So those combat skills will definitely help out George Santos. Oh, it's going to be so awesome to watch that guy go to jail. Oh, I look forward to your conversations with Cam if the Sixers and Heat make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Cam will not look forward to them. Anyway, what else do we have going on? Big O needs a storage unit for all his gear. Sean, hope you're feeling better, says Tua Time. And he is feeling a little better. He's getting better. Him and Frankie were rocking last night, doing a little squared circle digest. What were you guys on? What, like 2 hours yesterday? Pretty close to it, right?
Yeah, we've been going about 2 hours with everything that's going on and all the news and everything. So,
Jeez. Damn, dude. Fuck. That's you guys were rocking yesterday. It was good. And if you have not watched the wrestling show, the hell are you waiting for? Sean and Frankie doing a good job with that, man. Let's see. Chad says, literally in the process of moving into a new house, need to finish painting and get these floors in. First time homeowner. Damn, it's a lot of work. Yeah. Yeah. And then you'll the one thing about moving, it'll remind you how much you're gonna hate it. Like, that's the one thing, like, I never really want to move, I figure one day I'll move, but wow, dude, I am not looking forward to it at all. Not looking forward to it. So I hope it's like decades from now. You know what I'm saying? In fact, maybe I don't even have to move. Maybe I could just put a bunch of my shit in storage and just hand the house off to my daughter, and my wife and I just disappear traveling somewhere. That's it. Dizzy says, I'm happy the Panthers are playing well, but I do miss the Meow Mix song Sean used to play. Yeah, but they're no longer the Meow Mix. Now, this cat got fangs. This cat got talons. This cat is nasty. So it's a whole different ball game right now, Let's see. I believe you. Oh, you do not move. LOL. Yep, I stay right here in this seat, and I ain't moving anymore. The Stallone movie was called The Ibuprofen Kings, I think. Might have been the Holy Hospice Killers. The Expendables. That's it. That's it. There you go. Thank you, Knight and EJ. Like the lunches. Big O with Orlando poised to take over the East next season. Where do the Heat fit into the hierarchy in the East? We all know the fluke flash in the pan season is not the norm for the Miami team. Okay. Somebody's really doing drugs this morning. Chris says, after owning a house for 17 years, things change. I just want to maintain. Exactly. It's just moving is such a pain in the ass, dude. God, I hated the process of moving from our last house to this one 18 years ago or whatever the hell it was. I think. Yeah, I think it was 18 because my daughter's 23. So I think she was 5 when we moved here. Yeah, I think it's 18. So I hated it. Couldn't stand it, bro. And so now you just want to like settle in and not have to move. Anyway,
in today's world right now with the prices and the rates and all that, yeah, definitely not moving. Are you kidding me? That's nuts. Kind of deal I got in this house 18 years ago. Can't get it now. By the way, Bitcoin's just over 28,200, slightly up 2.5%. Market was down, man. Jasmine went all the way down to 53. Anybody get in? Now it's up to 55. So hopefully it'll start to climb back up again. But I saw that dip this morning and I said, I'm diving in. And I dove into that Jasmine dip. Rick D. Man, remember you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. Rick D. Man, thank you on Cash App. I'm loving it, Big O. If the Dolphins follow suit, oh my God. Rick D. Man is chiming in. He says for Panthers and Dolphins offseason. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate it. Very kind of you. And remember, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show at Cash App or Venmo. Thank you, Rick. Let me see what else we got here. Venmo, what do we got? Adam, thank you, Adam, on Venmo. Oh, I'm not going to complain about the Panthers and Heat being scheduled at the same time tonight because I never thought both teams would be a game away from advancing to the respective conference finals tonight. I agree. What are we going to do, right, bro? I mean, that's the thing. So watch the Panthers at 7, and then you got to make a decision a half hour later, and then you'll figure things out. What the hell? Hopefully it won't be that bad, man. Hopefully you'll be able to balance it out with 2 TVs, and let's just hope they both win. That would be really, really nice. And if the Panthers complete the sweep of the Maple Leafs, that is awesome. It's really cool, the Heat eliminating the Knicks, but I'm not like super impressed because I don't really have a lot of respect for the Knicks. I don't really think they're anything special. You know what I mean? But I give the Heat a lot of credit because the way they looked to be playing the way they're playing now and what they did the other night is perfect. Jimmy leads, and you've got the 3 to 4 shooters helping Jimmy complement, and then Bam playing that super role that he does. And you can roll over these guys. I think the Knicks are a demoralized team. They looked like it in the last game. I just don't see the kind of effort, the kind of desperation you want from a team that needs to win this game. That's my problem with that. Chad says, yeah, prices and interest rates are crazy, but I need to get out of the apartment with the 2 kids. Oh, yeah. No, I get it. Definitely. You got to do what you got to do. I get it. I'm just saying in my case, I couldn't sell to then go find something, because right now it would be a lot tougher. Heat are about to make the Eastern Conference Finals for the 3rd time in the last 4 years, but it's a flash in the pan. Exactly. That's why I said the dude is, doing some serious drugs. Don't forget to call Essential Moving Experts for a quote. Damn right. It's a free call. All right, Frankie Fresco's got a little love for us on the Super Chat. Here we go. AEW Wednesday Steel Cage match. Kenny Omega or Jon Moxley. Now, if I remember correctly, did I not pick against Moxley and won the last time, Sean?
I want to say that I picked against the Moxley guy and he lost, and I got the right pick, correct?
I want to say yes. I believe so.
But this time, it's different. John Moxley is going to bounce back because anybody with the name Omega, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Omega watches are some of the most unreliable watches in the history of mankind. I remember back in the day growing up, my dad spent a bunch of cash on an Omega watch, and boy, that man was pissed because that thing broke down like 3 times until he took it back to the guy and says, "Hey, F you, buddy. You sold me a shit watch. This company can't make a consistent watch." Now, I haven't really tried an Omega watch lately, okay? But I'm sure it's not like a Timex. It takes a licking and it keeps on ticking. So I don't think that Kenny Omega is going to take much of a licking. He's going to get a lot of kicking. So I'm going to go with John Moxley over the unreliable Kenny Omega watch. So I'm going Moxley for the win tonight in AEW. What you got, Sean? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
If you got to pick one, I guess I would go Moxley, but I think this is going to be a push tonight. But it is Tony Khan, it is AEW, so they'll screw it up.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. You people have pushes in wrestling? They have.
Well, if neither one wins, if it's a no contest, if it's a,
they have that?
Yeah, because you got to keep the feud rolling.
I've never seen that. Not that I watch a lot of wrestling.
Yeah,
but I've like the few moments that I've caught the end of the match and they name the winner.
Mm-hmm.
They name a winner. I've never seen a draw in wrestling.
No, it's been. I mean, it doesn't happen as often nowadays as it did back in the past. But every once in a while, they'll throw a no contest or something like that because everybody gets involved, which is what I think will happen tonight.
Well, I think Kenny breaks down just like an Omega watch would. And I think Moxley kicks his ass.
The one thing is I can guarantee you there'll be blood.
Okay. All right. How do they do it? How do they hide those little packets of blood all over their bodies? How do they do that?
Sir, that's not how it's done, sir. There's no packets. There's no packets.
Come on. We know they put a little layer of fake skin on top of it, and then they hit it, and that's it. It pops open.
No, you can see a little bit from the side on my forehead. A little bit. It happens, sir. But John Moxley just walks to the ring bleeding, so he's going to bleed.
Well, Moxley's going to win today. All right? So he's got it. For those of you that bet on wrestling, you're welcome. Eric Storm says, how much do we believe the schedule release about Dolphins versus KC not being in Arrowhead, but instead overseas in Frankfurt, Germany? If true, Miami really lucked out. 9 home games, 7 away, 1 neutral. Well, no, dude, it was released by the Dolphins. Of course, you got to believe it.
There was somebody that went on Facebook again, because you always talk about the Facebook facts, and was arguing the fact. They're like, this can't be true. It was released by the NFL,
right?
And it's like they're arguing it. I don't understand.
Facebook is down to like old people and racists. Basically, I don't even go on Facebook. It's for old farts and racists. That's it.
You're right. You might be right.
I'm serious.
Well, this was on Twitter that they took the screenshot of somebody physically conspiracy theory against the NFL about them. There's no way they released the schedule. The schedule doesn't come out till Thursday. This isn't true. And it's like,
bro, dumbest people on social media are on Facebook. Those are the dumbest people that there are on the face of the earth. They're on Facebook. Okay? Those are the incredibly stupid people on our planet. They're on Facebook. Old farts and racists. That's all you get on Facebook, bro. It's all you get on Facebook. It's the most full of shit,
uneducated, uninformed, misdirected, misguided people that you will ever find on earth, they gather on Facebook. Biggest freaking losers are on Facebook. Let's just be honest. I mean, if we're going to call it like we see it. Pat says Omega watches are now one of the best watches out there. I can tell you, back in the day, boy, they sucked. They were terrible. Kind of like Audis. Audis were really unreliable back in the 80s. 70s, 80s, you didn't want to buy an Alfa Romero or an Audi. Nowadays, they're good cars. Now, Audis are really nice. They do a really nice job with the Audis. Those things are sweet looking, and they're good cars. But back in the 70s to 80s, whoo, you didn't want to buy an Audi. That shit was in the shop all the time. Let's see. What else do we have? There's a reason most did time wrestlers' heads look like a New York City road map. Jonathan's also, sorry, Big O, but Omega watches are some of the best in the market nowadays. Not back in the day, bro. They sucked. Oh, that ticking reference is for Timex watches. This line is spoken by John Cameron Swayze on a series of TV commercials for Timex watches in the 50s and the 60s. It takes a licking and keeps on ticking. Exactly, says Brawl. That's why I never use Facebook. Yeah, Facebook is the biggest freaking losers on the planet are on Facebook. Like, I post on Facebook some of our stuff, and that's it. I just post it and leave. I don't even bother to socialize on Facebook because it is just loaded with losers, bro. Wow. Twitter's not full of geniuses, but not like Facebook. There's nothing like Facebook. Facebook really has like king-size stupid people. I mean, all of social media is loaded with idiots, but there are no bigger idiots than on Facebook. The amount of just crap that goes on Facebook is amazing. So, yeah. I will take a Omega watch over a Casio watch. Now, not in the 80s, you would have taken a Timex or a Casio. Boy, as a kid, you always wanted those Casio watches, right? Because they had so much shit going on the screen that you were like, this is too cool. I got to get me one of those Casios. I've got the watch. I've got a stopwatch. I've got another watch that's going to tell me, my zodiac signs. I've got another watch that's timing all my steps. I've got another face inside the watch that's telling me the time in London. Even though I'm never going to London, but I need to know what the time in London is. You had so much shit going on that Casio watch. Oh, and I can also, it's a calculator too. It's amazing. Those Casio watches. Whoo! You were dying to have it. And Citizen became the copy of Casio. The Citizen saw that Casio was having fun with the watch that had 80,000 things happening inside of it, and then 6 different knobs on the side of it. And they said, oh, we got to join in on that. And so Citizen started to create the same crazy ass watches that Casio would. Yep. Big O, the Miami Dolphins are going to be good if they stay healthy. Is that true? I don't know. What do you think? True Fin Fan says, I wear a Seiko Mariner. That was my grandfather's. Beautiful and works like it was new. Big O, your phone, my hometown. You phone from my hometown, Belglades. What? Yeah, I don't know. I'm born in Belglades.
I think it says you're from. It just typed over.
Oh,
phone.
instead of phone. Yes, I'm not from Belglades. I was born in Belglade. Okay? Because I was there 6 months. You know what I mean? So I was born in Belgrade. I can't say I'm from Belgrade. I didn't grow up in Belgrade. I grew up in Little Havana. Okay. So I can't say that. I was born in Belgrade. All right. What I can say is, and I'm a rare bird in this state, I am a true blue Floridian. That's what I can say. There aren't a lot of us in Florida, okay? Because we're all either transplanted from another state or another country. You know what I'm saying? That's the majority of the people that are in this state. Freaks like me are on a lot, and especially in my age. There's even less in my age. Those are rare too to find the folks that are actually, born and raised in Florida. We are complete weirdos. Gordon says, I still use Casio. They usually last me close to a decade before I have to replace it. And I beat my watches up. There you go. Chris Mayock is still swatch watching. I like it. There you go. Jesse, struggling with the keys, says, I'm from Belglades, too. But I think he's putting I-4 Belglades, too. But I think you're putting I'm from Belglades. Yes, I got you. Big O, when I asked you about Cam Fleming and bringing him in, you said he was a jag. Just change your mind. I respect your. Well, he's not. He's a backup guy. That's it. Not an earth. I don't think you're using him. Like maybe he turns into Brandon Shell, but what he is a swing tackle. And he can play both sides. And that's why I think they're going to sign him and not Taylor Lewan, who only plays left tackle. And there's a sack of injuries, too. That's the other thing about Taylor Lewan. He's unreliable. And then Brandon Shell, God bless him, he did actually a solid job at right tackle, but he cannot play left tackle. It's a mismatch for him at left tackle. So Fleming is not a world beater. None of these guys are world beaters at this point. They're fill-in guys. They're guys that are your backup guys. Remember, at this point, you're not going to add a stud. So I'm not going to make Cam Fleming out to be a stud. I'm not going to make Taylor Lewan to be a stud either. And I'm not going to make Brandon Shell to be a stud. But these are serviceable players. What are you going to do at this point? Unless you can draft somebody that's young and developing and has, starting potential in front of them or even star potential from that you can develop. But is Cameron Fleming anything special? No. Nice. It's a guy that can fill in on both sides. He can swing. That's all. But at this point, you're not getting anything special. The problem with some of you out there is Taylor Lewan is a name. That's all he is at this point. He's not the player he used to be. He just doesn't hold up anymore. That knee injury, I think he's going to sue the guy that did the knee injury or something like that. But he's just not reliable anymore, and he's limited. He only plays one side. So Cam Fleming is your best option right now, I think, out of all those guys. But again, I can't make him out to be some kind of world beater. So yeah, he's just a guy. But that's your best option right now out of all the guys that are there. In the end, Austin Jackson better play and play well. Moved to northern Florida a decade ago. More true Floridians once you get north of Port St. Lucie. That makes sense. You know why, Wolfman Law? All right, I'm going to say it. Okay? If you move to Florida, you're going to move to Central Florida down on average. If you're moving from New York, you're probably not going to move like you did to the Panhandle. most people are not. They're going to want more of a vibrant life. You're not going to get that in the northern part of Florida. That doesn't really necessarily exist. It's more of a calmer place to, whether it's Pensacola or Destin or Tallahassee or Gainesville or Jacksonville. Those aren't vibrant towns. You're probably more about relaxing, retiring, kicking back, take it easy. Destin's nice. Pensacola has a couple decent areas. Jacksonville too. So does Gainesville, right? But you're mostly kicking back and chilling. Whereas if you want more of a vibrant life, you're going to be moving more to Tampa, Orlando, and then certainly down to West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Miami. Then you're really taking it to another level. So if you're coming from Chicago or New York or California or whatever, you're probably moving to the bottom half of the state. The top half of the state probably doesn't get a fraction of the amount of people moving to it like it does in Central Florida and in Southern Florida. So what you say makes a ton of sense, that it's probably more normal to run into a lot of people that are born and raised in the northern part of Florida and stayed there than you would in Central and Southern Florida, where it's way more transient and you're going to get a lot more what's it called, transplants from other parts of the country, or expats from other countries, period, moving to Central and South Florida. So that makes a lot of sense. Now that when you mentioned it and you think about it, yeah, makes a lot of sense that the people in Northern Florida are more born and raised type people like myself than we would down here. I'll go with that. That'll be my theory, and I'm going to stick to it unless somebody gives me some facts. Like Dougie Fresh will come through with some facts and maybe I'm wrong. But I don't think I am. It's kind of common sense that more of a relaxing part of the state at the top, more of a transient part of the state at the other half of the bottom of it. What people don't understand is we just can't sign anymore. We run a special type of offense that a power lineman doesn't work very well. Fleming and Shell at least know the system. Yes. But again, you're not going to get some kind of stud at this point. So when the guy says, oh, you thought he's a Jag. Yeah, he's nothing special, but this is the best out of the group that you're going to get. You know what I mean? It's not like we're getting somebody that's going to become an all-pro, But out of all those guys, Cameron Fleming for me is the best option. Born and raised in Lake Worth, 25 years strong. There you go. My family migrated from Cuba to Chicago, then to Miami in the late 70s. Okay. Wolfman Law says, you speak the truth, though. Starting to get more transplants up here now, though. You know why, Wolfman? Because we are getting so overpopulated already in South Florida that now the west coast of Florida has already gotten a lot of people. Well, it's getting more. It's getting more popular. So the state is getting so popular that I think now we're going to start seeing people move up to the upper part of the state more. In the next 20 to 40 years, you'll see more of a move up to the upper part of the state and the panhandle. I think that will become more popular as time goes on. That does make a lot of sense because we're already overpopulated, overpriced in South Florida. So it's harder to find homes here. It's a lot hard, and you can't find cheap homes here. So now the West Coast is the boom. The West Coast is the one that's really getting a lot of people from all over the country move over more than any other area. And so then there's going to be a trickle up effect, not down. So it'll go up to the upper part to Orlando, to Ocala, then Jacksonville and Gainesville and St. Augustine, all that area. There's a lot of killer places to live in those areas. They're in St. Augustine, Jacksonville, and Daytona, and Gainesville, and all that. And then I would imagine that the Panhandle is also going to pick up a lot more. And I hate to put it this way, a couple decades from now, it'll really pick up, because unfortunately, we're going to have something, called climate change. And, our waters are going to get, our seas are going to get a little deeper. Our coastlines are going to shrink. And so then, yes, you'll see more people moving to the northern part of the state, because it's, it's a little safer. So, yeah, all those other things will change too at the same time, because eventually it'll, the state on the sides will shrink, because you'll have less coastline. So, that's another conversation for 30 to 50 years from now. But yeah. My predictions for tonight: pain for the Knicks, pain for the Maple Leafs. Although I expect the Maple Leafs to try much harder than the Knicks. I think the Knicks are, they've been gutted emotionally. That's what I saw in the last game. So I can't, down 3-1, they have no history. Remember that about the Knicks. They have no history of going to the playoffs and making runs and being in difficult situations. None of these guys have histories of climbing out of all of that. Brunson's the only one that has some history in the playoffs with Luka. But outside of that, there really isn't that history of this team climbing out of these kind of holes and things like that. That's why you can talk all the shit you want about culture and all that, but the Heat are at another level because the franchise has been through it. And that's the difference. This is a team that was one shot away from the finals last year. They went to the bubble. In the bubble, they went to the finals, 3 years ago? So they're on the brink of going to the Eastern Conference Finals 3 out of the last 4 years. They're tested. It's different. So, yeah, I think the Knicks are more of a demoralized team at this point. Speaking of the Knicks, we got a Knicks fan, and he'll start it off in hour number 2. I forgot that Matt Verderam is suffering right now. And I say that with a smile. I'm sorry, Matt. Matt Verderam is up next right here on the Big O Radio Show.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646. When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at Caneswear.com or InnerMiamiWear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
thoughts or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty, there he is. Locked and loaded. Hey, by the way, I know you're indoors. How hot and humid is it indoors right now for you? I don't know. You might cramp up on me during this interview, so I'm not exactly sure. You know what I mean?
I got to tell you, it's maybe the worst excuse I've ever heard in my life. I mean, that really, like I am a Knicks fan. I've been a Knicks fan since '93. That's more embarrassing than losing the games. I mean,
dude, you should be fired. You should be fired for saying shit like that. Like that's like you're lying. You're sending like, because we have stupid people in this world, and they're gonna roll with that, and they're gonna start believing stupid shit like that. And that's the problem with something that's irresponsible, bro. That's not just dumb. It's irresponsible to say something that stupid.
It's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. It's legitimately one of the top 5. And think about, like, I'm 34 years old. Like, I've heard enough things in my life that are pretty dumb. It's up there. And by the way, I hate to tell the person who uttered that, the Knicks have also sucked in New York in this series. It's not as though like they went down to Miami and were just a completely different team. Like they barely beat the Heat when Jimmy Butler was there in game 2.
They really should have lost that game. They really should have lost that game.
Look, the bottom line in this series is to me obvious and simple. The Heat are playing perfect basketball. I mean, they just are. Every shot they take, it feels like they rotate the ball beautifully. They're hitting every important shot.
I think, dude. I just think Spo's a much better. Tibbs is a motivator. Tibbs is an in your face. He's I don't think he's a X's and O's genius, dude. I don't think he's that guy. You know what I mean? That's why I think he's the kind of guy that wears on every organization he's ever been at, and he'll do the same shit in New York. 5 years in. They'll all be tired of Tibbs. They'll all be tired of the message. They'll all be tired of the same shit, and they'll change coaches because that's who he is. Does he get great effort out of guys for a stretch? Yeah, that's what he does. But is he going to out-coach the guy across from him? No, dude. No.
I would say this about Thibodeau. First of all, I agree with you. Spoelstra's a much better coach. Secondly, Thibodeau's a good defensive coach, and he's very good at developing young players. I mean, Jimmy Butler once upon a time was one of them. He's very good at getting the best out of those guys. The problem with Thibodeau is he's Tom Thibodeau, and that's all he ever is. Like, he's so rigid in how, like, for an example, in this series. Now, I'm not saying this would even swing the series, but the Knicks have rotated themselves to death defensively. Miami has swung the ball so effectively, and they just end up with these wide open shots. You would think at some point in this series, the Knicks would say, you know what, we're going to play this on defense because at least we're not going to have to run ourselves ragged all over the court. They won't do it. They won't do it because Tibbs doesn't want to play that way. So they will play the way they're playing the entire series, even if it means death, because Tibbs wants to play that way. Now, that all said, look, the Heat are much better than a typical 8 seed. Give them all the credit in the world. They have played great basketball. They've played their best basketball at this time. The Knicks, on the other hand, the strength all year long has been their bench. Their bench has been invisible. Quickly was awful even before he got hurt. Toppin has done nothing. Hartenstein's been quiet. And the starters, Randall has been either unbelievable like he was in game 2, or he's been awful. There's been no in between. He's been awful more than he's been incredible. And Mitchell Robinson has gotten his lunch handed to him this entire series. So what you have is Miami up 3-1. I agree with you, by the way. I think they will win tonight. I just do not think the Knicks have it.
They looked demoralized in the last game, dude. I agree. They did. It takes a hell of an effort now to win in this kind of a situation. You got to have incredible character to really put it aside and go out there and ball. And to me,
like Miami was always in control in the last game. Like they never really were threatened.
No,
And I expected a run because you would think, dude, your season's on the brink. You're gonna desperately try to get out of it. And I never saw the Knicks. Like tonight, I do expect like the Maple Leafs to try their best, and if Panthers can stave them off for a couple periods, then maybe in that third period you'll start to see that demoralized team. I don't know if I'm going to see a great effort from the Knicks at any point tonight. I really don't. I just don't think that Thibodeau's got them, focused right now.
I think the only
defeated right now.
I think in the first quarter, because they're at the Garden, they'll come out hard. But if Miami can weather that storm, I think they'll win the game. I mean, that would be the only thing is if the Knicks just come out and they're gangbusters early in the game. But I agree. I think this is probably the end. And honestly, it's the same way, but in reverse, I felt about the Knicks and the Cavs in Game 5 in Cleveland, where I thought even going back to Cleveland, having watched the two games in New York, you could just see it in Cleveland. You're like, they're done. They're not winning this game. They have no answers to this point. I think barring just one of those things where the Knicks just shoot the lights out and have one of those nights, I would agree. I do not think the Knicks will win tonight, and I do not think in any circumstance it's going past 6, but I think it ends tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. All right, well, we got a Chiefs Dolphins matchup, but it ain't Thursday night. We got it in November in Germany. What do you think?
I got to tell you, I'm kind of disappointed the game's not Arrowhead with Tyreek Hill. I thought that would be fun. I thought that would. I mean, they've been already talking about it. These teams, Tyreek Hill and Chris Jones.
L'Jarius Sneed is already going. Yeah, we'll be ready. So that
would have been fun. Listen, I mean, if you're German and you're a German fan, it's a great game. I mean, you're excited about having that game in Germany, right? I mean, it's hard to complain about that. I like that it's a little later.
We're actually now giving the European countries some decent games because,
yes, finally,
dude, all we handed them for years were the worst.
It was the worst possible games year in and year out. Yes, it's amazing that frankly they haven't started sanctioning the United States based on some of these games. No, I think look, it's a good game. Obviously, I like the fact it's in the middle of the season and it's not like week 3 or something. That's fun. You have a little idea where the teams are. Like I said, I mean, just for the Tyreek Hill factor, I think if it was in Arrowhead, it would be cool. But it makes the game a little more interesting. Not that Miami couldn't have won an Arrowhead, but now it's in a neutral site. So now you look at it and go, all right, well, it's, I don't know what the line would be for that game, but it's going to be smaller than what it would have been if it was in Kansas City. It should be fun. The Dolphins, I mean, geez, we haven't even announced the schedule yet. We already have 2 primetime games. Got that game, even though it's not technically primetime. It's 8:30 in the morning Eastern, or 9:30 in the morning Eastern. And you got Black Friday, Dolphins, Jets, Black Friday. So we already got a couple of games for the Finns nationally televised.
Atlanta, Jacksonville, Wembley Stadium on my birthday, October 1st. I'll be in Vegas during that time because I'll be watching U2 in the Sphere on the 29th and the 30th. So, yeah, that'll be fun. So October 8th, Jags versus Bills at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That's actually a pretty good game. Jags, Bills. Atlanta, Jacksonville. Jacksonville's sexy, but Atlanta is around. Ravens, Tennessee, not bad. I know Tennessee still has some quarterback issues, but at least they get the Ravens. And then Dolphins, Chiefs, and then Colts, Pats at Frankfurt Stadium. That's the other Germany game on November 12th. So a bunch of overseas games and a few good ones, actually, and some decent teams going over there, too, at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, the Chiefs and Dolphins and the Jags and the Bills, those are the 2 games that are the ones that you really kind of look at and go, hey, it's gonna be a good game. It's going to be a fun game. Jags, Falcons, I mean, if the Falcons had a quarterback, I'd be in on that game. Right. The problem is the quarterback. Pats, Colts offensively might set the sport back 50 years. I mean, I like Anthony Richardson. I think he's going to be very good, but I think it's going to take a little time. And,
he'll be bad this year. If he plays, he's going to make a lot of ugly mistakes this year.
And I got to tell you, Richardson against Bill Belichick might be an interesting game. And then you got what? The Ravens Titans. I mean, look, one thing you know about that game, it'll be hard hitting, it'll be physical. I don't think the Titans are good. I don't think the Titans are good. But I agree that could be interesting. Like that could be an interesting game if Tannehill's there and he's healthy. And but I think that the Jags, Bills, and the Chiefs and the Dolphins, those to me should be 4 playoff teams. So I think it should be interesting.
What did you think of Bengals Chiefs on New Year's Eve?
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's big time. Week 17. Who knows?
Home field advantage on the line. I am
the number one seed
for somebody. Yeah,
that could be the number 1 seed. That is going to be. I'm a big believer in. I like all the big games. Like I said it earlier about Chiefs and Dolphins. That it's at least in November. I like those games later in the year. Where the teams stand. What's at stake in those games. I mean, look, if the Chiefs played the Bengals week 2, it's an important game, but it's week 2. You're kind of finding yourself, you're rounding at the form. Week 17, barring injury, that game's going to be the game. I mean, those teams are going to be looking at that game all year long going, all right, all we got to do is be within a game of the other one because, the one thing this year, and the Chiefs dealt with this last year, it ended up not living up to the hype because the AFC West wasn't as good as people thought it would be. But going into the year, I mean, a lot of people, including myself, felt like, look, it's going to be impossible for them to get a 1 seed because the division is so tough. They're going to beat each other up, and the schedule is really difficult. I think that same thing this year might hold true for the AFC East in the sense it's such a brawl in that division. Then they got to play the NFC East, which is probably the best division in the NFC side of things. And specifically for Buffalo, Buffalo's not only got to play all those teams, Buffalo's also got to play Jacksonville, Cincinnati, Kansas City. So, I mean, it's just I think there's a very good chance that the Chiefs and the Bengals, that they are playing for the number 1 seed in the conference that game, as long as both of them stay healthy.
Crazy shit, man. All right, so L'Jarius Sneed, by the way, is a young cornerback for the Chiefs.
Yes.
And obviously Tyreek Hill has been talking about how he's going to be the Chiefs' worst enemy on his return to Kansas City. Unfortunately, we now found out that he's not returning to Kansas City this year. He'll be playing Kansas City in Germany, so it'll be a whole different ballgame. But Sneed did say Tyreek's been talking a lot of trash. He's been talking a lot about coming back to Arrowhead. We will show him when he gets here. I don't really get into it, but I take notes of what he said, Sneed said. I've been on the internet, and I see what he's saying. We'll see once he comes to Arrowhead. So tell me a little bit about L'Jarius Sneed. Now that it won't be Arrowhead, it'll be, what the hell is that stadium called? It's Frankfurt Stadium. Now that they will meet at Frankfurt Stadium, tell us about L'Jarius Sneed.
He's a really good player. He's their best corner. He plays slot. He plays outside. He will definitely see Tyreek Hill in that game. And I won't say one-on-one because I think anybody playing one-on-one with Tyreek Hill is insane. There'll be help. But he will be across from him. Let's put it that way. Steve's really good. In fact, he's been one of the guys I've been keeping an eye on, talking to sources about because he's got 1 year left in his contract. And I think he's somebody the Chiefs are going to be interested in extending. In fact, I can tell you that they have had extension talks with him. He's a really, really good player. He's a great blitzer out of the slot. He might be the best corner in the league at that. In terms of he and Mike Hilton are probably the 2 best at blitzing off the slot. But yeah, he's an important player for the Chiefs. He doesn't talk a lot. He's a very quiet guy. I've interviewed him. In fact, during his rookie season when they went to the Super Bowl, they played the Bucs. I sat down with him for an exclusive one-on-one and talked to him on the phone for like 20 minutes. Very nice guy, Louisiana kid, very, very quiet. So for him to go on there and talk about that was interesting. Look, let's put it this way. Tyreek Hill has their full attention. And by the way, Tyreek Hill doesn't care that he has their full attention. He wants their full attention. Okay? Yeah. And that's the beauty of this game. Tyreek Hill absolutely, as the kids say, wants all the smoke. And the Chiefs are like, that's great. You can come with it because we're ready. I mean, That's what made the AFC title game so much fun. Where the Chiefs and Bengals spent the entire week just talking crap about how much they couldn't stand each other.
Yeah.
And I think, look, my guess in that game, Tyreek Hill is going to get his, and the Chiefs are going to get some of their. It's going to be. I think it's going to be a very interesting game. It's going to be a very, very good football game.
Well, I don't know if we talked a little bit about this last week, but one of the things I'm intrigued about now with Devon A-Chain being part of the team, that when you got A-Chain and Mostert coming out of the backfield with Waddle and Hill,
Yep,
that's a crap ton of speed. I don't know what secondary is going to want to, who can hang and want to face 4 guys with that kind of speed coming at you. That's going to be one hell of a formation if they take that out.
it is. Look, the Dolphins. I just finished writing a lot about the Dolphins. So I've done a few AFC East pieces for SI. I'll run next week. The Dolphins are, I think, pretty inarguably the fastest team in the NFL. I mean, I don't know that there'd really be an argument. Maybe there's one other team you throw in there. I don't know. I mean,
I don't think there's anybody like that.
They're right at the top in my estimation. Which, look, the one thing that does, beyond the obvious of just, hey, you're really fast, it's going to force teams to play zone against you. They're going to have to. I mean, I remember when the Chiefs had Tyreek Hill, and it was always like, look, if you want to play man against them, good luck. Have fun. I don't care who you have at corner. He's torching you. In fact, it's actually funny now because they play together in Miami. The first year that the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, 2019, Jalen Ramsey came in as a member of Jacksonville, and he was ripping into Tyreek Hill, but Tyreek Hill was only a Pro Bowler as a special teams player. And boy, he had a day. Like Tyreek Hill, he had a nice day against Ramsey that afternoon. And it was like, if Jackson wants to sit there and play a man, they're going to get beat. It's going to get beat. I don't care who you're playing with. And Miami's going to see a lot of that this year. Like, I don't care if New England or Buffalo or the Jets, if they want to sit there and play a man, like, look, and the Jets might try to do it with those corners. I don't care how good you are. Like, that is going to be, if you play man against Miami, you better have an outstanding defense. Because if you don't, you're going to give up big plays. And I guarantee you with the Chiefs, now again, the Chiefs are going to sit there and say, we'll give you everything underneath in the world. That's fine. They'll take it. And God knows the Dolphins can do it. But we're not going to get beat deep. That's going to be the whole thing. Where which seems obvious, but I guarantee you will have some teams that will say, we don't care. We're going to play man. We're going to blitz. And I think those are the teams that are going to give up 40 points against Miami because you can't play that way against that type of speed.
Before I let you go, the game's not going to be easy. You still got to play it. It's going to be a challenge for everybody, no matter where it's at. Okay. So I'm going to throw that caveat out there. But did the Dolphins get a break not having to go to Arrowhead?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Of course they did. I mean, I think if you looked at it from like a line perspective, and I'm not an odds maker, I mean, look, we're also talking about this in like May. But if we had to make odds for the game, I mean, the odds would probably be something like if it was in Kansas City, everybody's healthy. The Chiefs always end up with inflated lines because people bet the hell out of them. So I would say it'd probably be like a 6-point line, even though it probably shouldn't be that high. In Germany, they'll probably be favored by like
3.5.
3.5. I was just going to say 3.5, 4. Yeah. Like, I think so. Yeah, I do. I mean, are the Chiefs still the favorite team in the game? Yes. But did the Dolphins? Is it easier? Yeah, of course it's easier.
Yes.
You have to play at Arrowhead. Yeah. So
yes.
How many teams?
The crowd won't be completely pro Chiefs anymore.
Right.
It won't be like that. There'll be a bunch of Dolphin fans there too at the same time. Right. You won't have rabid red all over the goddamn stadium dominating you, bro, because that's what happens. And it's not like 20,000 people from the other team show up at Arrowhead now every week. No.
Yeah,
it's all Arrowhead. I mean, it's all red.
The other part of it
gets what, 50 people in there, 100 people, 500 people. They don't get a lot of people in there. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, 100%. I agree with you. And look, also the Chiefs are going to have to travel for their own home game, and it's going to be a thing where, look, the weather's not going to be a factor. you wouldn't think.
That's true.
So
good point.
yeah, I mean that. Now, granted, it's early November. Probably wouldn't be that.
It's early November. It would have been just cool, but
yeah,
still,
probably been, 50 or something. But that being said, look, yeah, it absolutely helps the Dolphins. I mean, just like quite honestly, I think Jacksonville got a huge break. They're not going to go to Buffalo. Like Jacksonville, I know some people have been like, well, they got to play in London for 2 straight weeks. Yeah, they're already there. Like they already have been there. Their body clocks are all adjusted. The Bills don't have to go over there, lose a home game, and play the Jags, who are basically London's team because they're over there every single year. I mean, if you're Jacksonville, it's a huge advantage. You're sitting there waiting for them. So, yes, I think it's not only do the Bills lose a home game, they're playing, at least like with the Chiefs and the Dolphins, look, they're both like pretty new to the international thing. Like, they don't play a lot of international games. The Jags play a London game every year. They're more used to this than anybody. So I think it really does hurt the Bills. I think of all the teams that have to go over there and host a game, it sucks if you're Buffalo because you're playing the team that they're the most used to it, and they're already going to have been there because they play Atlanta the week prior.
And they're actually good now. So
yeah, right. Yeah, right. And they're good. So that's a tough spot. If you're Buffalo, that I'd be miffed if I were the Bills.
I don't know if we talked about this, but I don't know if I told you my idea. But my idea, I mentioned usually Berlin, but they're doing Frankfurt.
Yes.
But Frankfurt, Barcelona, Paris, and London, for me, should be the expansions. And you do 2 a year, 2 consecutive years. And you can't expand to Europe for 1 team or 2. You got to do an entire division.
I agree. I would agree if you're going to do it. Yeah.
Have we had this conversation? Did I tell you about this?
We haven't, but I agree with you.
My idea is you expand to those 4 cities. And you build an international practice facility centralized there in Europe where U.S. teams go over and they stay a couple of weeks. And that practice facility also has its own hotel. And so that way they stay there and then they travel for 2 weeks. They go to London and then Frankfurt and then they come back. And you do the same thing here. Put a practice facility somewhere centralized in this country. And then those European teams, when they come here, they stay for a couple of weeks and they go to a couple of cities because you can't do it just for 1 week. So you just keep them out there for a couple of weeks. And then the other thing that you're going to do is you're going to make it a 20-week schedule because you're going to have 2 bye weeks, 1 for your Thursday night game and 1 for your European jaunt or American jaunt, whatever it is. But I think when you expand to an entire European division because the amount of money you're going to draw by going into the entire part of Europe now, all of a sudden you're going to get all that whole part of the world interested in NFL football, and they're going to specifically be scooping up those 4 teams' jerseys and shirts and hats and all that kind of crap. So the amount of money that you can bring in is just a sick amount of money overall. But the only way to logistically do it is if you got to have an entire European division. So that way it gives them something to root, and it gives you also something that it doesn't kill the teams if they go over there and they hang out for a couple of weeks and then they come back and they have a bye week. They have plenty of time to, get their legs back and all that kind of stuff and continue the season. What do you think about that idea?
I think if you're going to expand internationally, I agree with you. You have to do it more than 1 team. Like it doesn't make any sense to stick a team in London and then just go, okay, that team's gonna have to travel now constantly. I mean, I think I personally, there's part of it I think could be interesting. There's another part of it I don't really want to see them go internationally to Europe, only because I just think it'd be hard for those teams to draw free agents in the way that the North American teams would. I think it'd be hard.
You have to think big picture, my man. Once you entrench yourself in Europe, you will now get young kids to start playing the game.
Sure.
So you'll do what baseball, basketball, and hockey has been able to do. You have expanded the talent pool of your sports because international is part of your game now. So the NBA is better than it's been because now we have international players. Baseball is the same. We've got the Caribbean and Central and South American players, joining in, and hockey the same way. In football, they don't have that luxury. But if you put that out there, that cycle starts over the next 50 years, and you start to really build your talent pool, and hopefully you start getting real, instead of us having that token European dude that we bring onto rosters nowadays that has like no shot pretty much as making the team. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we can now really start to breed football players in other countries. So I think that actually might have a future.
That'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. Yeah, I mean, right now, I don't want the league to expand, period. But I will say, I'm with you. If they're going to expand to Europe at any point in time, they have to do it with more than one team. You can't. Oh, listen, believe me, I agree with you. If the NFL could make money by expanding and putting a team in Antarctica, they would do it. Okay.
European rights would go up. European TV rights would skyrocket if you have 4 teams in Europe. Interest would skyrocket. Teams in Europe. I mean,
here's what would you put?
You and I know it. Those 4 stadiums will be sold out all 18 weeks of the season, because by then you're up to 36, 18 weeks, 36 teams. It all jives. 20 weeks of the season, 2 bye weeks. It all jives.
The interest,
and you know how it is. They go after every revenue stream, and they're almost done with revenue streams here, because the digital part of it is the next thing, and they've already dominated with streaming and streaming services and platforms. So then the next thing becomes the worldwide, part of it, and because, here's the other beauty, because there are a lot, football is the number 1 sport in the world. Well, this is their opportunity all of a sudden now make football more international than ever and get that international money in their pockets, bro. And those owners know there's billions of dollars waiting for them to expand in Europe.
Remember,
the world plays 1 sport. We play 4. The world plays 1. Okay? That's it. They very few countries have a second major sport. We effing have 4. Well, we have 5 now, really, with Major League Soccer, because shit, it's growing in era. Did you see that stat that we had the 16th, 17th, and 18th most valuable soccer teams in the world now? Did you know that?
I didn't see that. That's crazy. That actually really surprises me. I did not see that.
That shocked the shit out of me when I saw that. So you're telling me this league's only 25 years old, 30 years old? You've already got 3 of the top 20. So eventually that's going to grow too. But if you think about it, the rest of the world basically plays 1 sport.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico, they have basketball. Colombia, they love cycling, a little boxing. Some places have boxing, some places have baseball, some places have hockey, some places have some basketball. But really, that this is where football gets to kind of expand. I just think, their greed will take them there eventually.
You know who really doesn't want the NFL in England full time is the English Premier League. That's one part of that. I mean, look, I agree with you. Like, they would sell. I have a good friend who's from Germany, and I grew up there. I think the first 20 some odd years of his life, and he loves the NFL. And I asked him once, I said, did you watch it when you were in Germany? He's like, oh, yeah. He goes, yeah, we what's going on in the NFL. And that guy surprised me, because I said, really? Like, it's like, I said, obviously there's no teams there. And up until recently, there were never any games there. He's like, oh, yeah. People are very invested in the NFL over there. Like, a lot of people. So, yes, I would never argue. There'd be a market. They'd sell the stadium out, all that stuff.
Every stadium would be sold out to the gills, dude. Sold out. Plus, Americans will make that. It's kind of like what's happening with Las Vegas.
Yes,
that all these leagues now figured out. We know that mathematically, maybe their population isn't perfect, but we don't care, because it's a destination place, and so we know we can put a pro team there, and visitors will come to help fill that stadium, arena, whatever. And so that's why Vegas is getting all those teams. And that's what, Frankfurt and London and Paris, and, they would all be destinations too at the same time. So,
yes, No, I absolutely.
And again, by putting a division, remember, you're playing 6 games of your 18. So a third of your season, you're really not traveling a ton. So that's the other thing that's why it's so important to put a division, because that way there's a hefty part of your traveling that it's just local for those 6 out of your 18. So it's only 12 that you end up traveling. And remember, it could be, it could be 4 trips or it could be 6 trips, because you could travel to play 2 teams, or you could travel to play 3 teams and stay in the States for 3 weeks. You know what I mean? And then come back. So you could actually do it that way, where you're only really making a couple trips out, to the States, and it wouldn't be that bad. So I've got it all figured out.
You gotta get home
I'm
to
set.
Goodell.
If Goodell needs me, I can guide him to, more money there.
Good. That's key.
All right, what do you got going on Sports Illustrated so folks can check you out?
Yeah, this week, look, we got the schedule release coming out tomorrow, and I am kind of the man in charge of this one piece that we have that we actually published today. It's kind of like a running doc of like everything we're hearing, everything you need to know about the schedule. So it's actually pretty fun. Like, we're just going to kind of update it throughout. I have my AFC predictions for the records coming out tomorrow night, I believe it is. It's got to be tomorrow night as the schedule comes out. And
you got the Dolphins winning the division?
I do.
Whoa, nice.
I do. I think the Dolphins are going to win that division. I think the Dolphins are the best team in the AFC East. I will tell you right now, though, it's going to be a tight one in that division.
Of course. Man, yeah.
But
man.
I do. I think the Dolphins are going to win that division. I do. I am a little nervous about that because just Tua, man, please stay healthy.
Right. Of course.
Yeah, but if he stays healthy, I think they're the best team in the division. So yes, but I have my AFC record predictions coming out. And then next week, speaking of the AFC, I have report cards for all the off seasons coming out. And the report card grade, by the way, is much better for the Dolphins for the off season than it was for the draft. So I have AFC East, the AFC North, and the AFC West coming out next week. Stay tuned. There'll be a whole lot of stuff. And then the offseason kicks into high gear, and then we'll have some longer pieces and stuff like that. But it'd be fun. There's a lot to read.
Follow him on Twitter at Matt Verderam. Matt, as always, thank you, my brother. Have a fantastic week, my friend.
Thanks a lot. Take care, man.
Thank you, sir. There you go. The great Matt Verderam, Sports Grill. Hey, man, tonight's the night to go to Sports Grill. 8 amazing locations. All right. They added the Doral location now. That thing is monstrous and beautiful. And tonight, your head's on a swivel, right? So now you can have some special grilled wings. You can enjoy a cold beer, and you're watching the Heat. You're watching the Panthers. You're celebrating. It's a beautiful thing, man. Sports Grill, go check it out. And Wednesdays, okay, on Sports Grill, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult entree. So get on down there, have a little lunch, take the kid. They can have a little free meal there, too. And remember, you can take home their amazing hot sauces, the buffalo sauce, the Miami Heat, the blackberry, the barbecue, the Dale. Go to sportsgrill.com. Find the nearest location to you. All right. NorCal says the NFL won't ever have an entire European division. They will just play more games over there. You are not measuring greed, NorCal. Greed is a beautiful thing. Well, listen, if they're ever going to expand there, they will expand as a division. That's the smartest way to do it. To put 1 or 2 teams there would be absolutely stupid. You got to put an entire division there. You expand 2 teams one year and then 2 teams the next year, and then you begin the process. But once they finish their digital part here with the streaming services, which they're pretty much done almost, they're going to start looking for more revenue streams. That's how these people are. And they're going to keep producing revenue streams and keep producing revenue streams. And Europe is the inevitable. I mean, you include pretty much the world in all the other sports, right? But football is way more powerful than every other league out there. Actually, football is the most powerful league The NFL is the most powerful league in the world. Okay? So that's why it could actually pull that off and get it done. So anyway. All right, Bitcoin hovering over 28,000. Ooh, Jasmine dropped again to 53. Buying. Dropped to 53 this morning. I took advantage of it. Went up to 57. Now it's back down to 53. Rick D. Man again. Another love on the Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. She says, correction, Panthers, Heat, Dolphins, mind-blowing. Yes, they are. They are mind-blowing, my brother. That they are, my friend. The stuff that has gone on with those two teams today, I mean, this postseason is absolutely sick. Dolphins-wise, we got good news. The NFL has announced that the Dolphins will take on the Chiefs in Germany on November 5th, 9:30 a.m. NFL Network. So, Sean, that means our pregame will start at 7:30. So we got to go. We got to do something like a breakfast or something. I don't know. We're gonna have to do that for Dolphins Chiefs. Looking forward to it. And Dolphins don't have to go to Arrowhead, but they have to travel to Germany. But so does Kansas City. So it's not a big deal for me. The Chiefs. Listen, this is. I wanted the season to. I mean, from what I'm hearing, that it's going to be Dolphins Patriots. I don't know if it's true or not. This person that told me, I have no idea. But I wanted Chiefs Dolphins to open up the season. That would have been so cool with those two offenses. You know what I mean? So now we got to wait till November 5th. I'm not going to worry about some of the other stuff that some of you are talking about, I'm sure. So, but it should be fun to see and then you've got the Black Friday game. So there's going to be a first time ever Black Friday game. So and the Dolphins and the Jets are part of it, which is pretty cool. The only thing is, you know what? I did not. Did you see the time for that Black Friday game? Wasn't it like afternoon? Is it like a 3:00 game or something? Yes, 3:00. There it is. November 24th, 3:00 is the Black Friday game. So Miami in 2 primetime games. And I know that the 9:30 game is maybe not considered prime time, but it is kind of prime time because you're the only one on. You know? You're the only one on at 9:30. So everybody's going to be watching. Every fantasy player is going to be setting their lineups because they've got a lot of people are going to have Dolphins and Chiefs on their fantasy teams. And then you've got the Black Friday game. So Miami thrown in there, 3:00 on a Black Friday. Again, you've got all the attention to yourself. So it's not prime time, 8:00 at night. I get that's what we consider prime time, but it is prime because all eyes are on you. So it's a nice opportunity. And, it's nice to see that the Dolphins are getting better as a franchise. They're getting better as a team. They're one of the most entertaining teams to watch. And the league agrees, and they're putting them in sexy matchups. Okay? So you get to beat Kansas City in Germany and pound the stinking Jets on Black Friday. I don't know if Jet fans are going to enjoy getting their asses kicked on a Friday, but they're going to get their asses kicked on a Black Friday. I'm messing with Omar right now because he sends me a text, right? But clearly he was talking to somebody else. So he sent me a text that he was talking to somebody else. And no, I got it. I'm on Big O's show today. So I don't know who he was telling that to. So then I was busting his balls. I said, yeah, you are on today. He goes, oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't for you. And I go, yeah, I know. I'm just busting your balls. Black and Blue Friday for the Jets. Yes. Yes, it will be. I will agree with that one. Oh, Jesus. So, hey, I heard the Pat McAfee show. Did you read about that? So Pat McAfee is about to back out of his deal. I guess he has an option to get out of the $120 million deal with FanDuel, and he's going to join ESPN. I was thinking about that. I like McAfee's show. Can McAfee do the same show on ESPN? No. Like, his show will completely change on ESPN. He will not be able to be himself. He's not going to be able to drop all the F-bombs that he does, all the edgy stuff that he does. He's not going to be able to do it. So you're going to have to play the corporate game, dude. I thought McAfee had the best of both worlds the way he was doing it with FanDuel. See, I would rather have a deal with FanDuel way more than ESPN. I wouldn't want to work for ESPN. And especially in his spot where he's got a nice power position, he's making good. I don't know how much more money you need personally, but whatever. Wow. And now here's the thing. He does have issues with access and stuff like that because, he can't play certain sound bites and things like that because the NFL will tag his ass right away. I know we go through it on our show. So maybe by going to ESPN and they pay for all the rights fees and all that stuff, he'll have access to all of that. But his show will not be the same. He will not be able to go after people. He will not be able to, you're just going to you're going to be forced to be politically correct all the time. And you're going to be forced to cater to bullshit that is tied to your organization for money or whatever. So you can't criticize or can't say anything. It'll change the absolute dynamics of that show. Okay, they may not even allow Hawk to smoke on air his cigar. We don't want to promote smoking. We're Disney, this, that, whatever. Just stupid shit like that. I'm just, if Pat wants money and all that, maybe that's why he's doing and selling out to that. But his show is going to go down the drain. It will not be it will not be the monster it's been. People, I know we have this sensitive world and all that, but people, I think in general, still would rather have a show that or listen to a host or whatever that's not going to bullshit them and is not going to play the PR game all the time. Because once you have to play that game, people see right through it and it turns them off eventually because they know that you're catering to, the politics of whatever you're working with. So God bless him. He's going to make probably more money. And if that's what he's after and all that, but his show will not be better. It will suffer by going to ESPN. And I think he does an awesome job with his show the way it is now, the way he's got it set up. I wouldn't change a damn thing if I'm him at all. Anyway, he just ruined his show. Worst thing yeah. Bad move, dude. Join the politically correct ESPN. I watched his cast on the NFL draft. There is no way in hell he could do a show like that. on ESPN. No, notice when he does the college stuff, it's fluff crap. When he does that stuff on game day, ESPN and all that, it's fluff. It's not the same. You know what I mean? What you want to do is get away from the corporate world, dude. God, it's been the most liberating thing I've had the last 2 years here. You know? No, once you're free of all that bullshit, make enough money to survive, but, whatever. Big O, he'll be looked at as the new Stephen A. of football. Didn't think Pat would sell out. Well, I the part I don't get is, why does he want to make that move? Outside of maybe not dealing with not having certain access to things that can help you out on the show, but his show's powerful enough. I like his show. I like the way he does it now. He will never be able to do that. But hey, man, what are you gonna do? 150 million is not enough. Oh, I guess not. Let's see. Just looked at airline tickets for Germany to see the Finns Chiefs game. 1,100 for a coach seat on Lufthansa. Book it early if you're going. Holy shit. Take a shipping ferry for $100. Big O, maybe FanDuel will offer you the money. Hey, if FanDuel wants a show, I'm here. I'm ready to go. And I'll do it for less. But I'll do a hell of a show for them. I'd love to do something like that. Not for ESPN, but for FanDuel. That's amazing. I find that to be like, wow, a move that, it's a shame. I just think his show's going to take a major, major hit. You might be able to get some guests and all that, but you'll have all that fluff shit that ESPN is full of already. I mean, think about it. We listen to morons telling us that the heat and humidity inside the arena is affecting the Knicks. That's the kind of stupid shit that goes on ESPN. Big O or ESPN will give him the freedom that they gave to Le Batard and his crew. ESPN needs a show similar to what they had. They won't give Le Batard that. That's why Le Batard left, my brother. Because he was being restricted by ESPN's bullshit rules. That's why he's gone. Levy got smart and got out of that corporate world and still tied to it, but with the freedom of the deal he has now. So that's why he dumped ESPN. I think eventually, listen, man, Pat's got to make money, right? So I guess he wants to make the fat cash, but eventually his bank account will get fat enough that he'll look over and go, okay, I've made a lot of money, but man, this show ain't shit compared to what I used to do. And he'll get tired of it. And eventually he'll get tired of ESPN and their BS. So it's all money. That's all. It must be Bob Iger must have offered him a sick amount of money, and then he doesn't want to turn it down. And I get it. Free agent Foster Moreau has reached an agreement today on a 3-year, $12 million deal that includes $8 million fully guaranteed, an additional $3 million in incentives with the New Orleans Saints. Moreau winds up back in Louisiana. All right. Let's see. What do we have here? Did you hear that Tom Cruise wants to go out with Shakira? I did not hear that. Here's the question I have for you, Frankie. Who doesn't want to go out with Shakira? You know what I'm saying? What red-blooded man on the planet doesn't want to go out with Shakira. You know what I'm saying? Those of us that are married, we're already out of it, okay? So we're out of the running, so we don't count. But what I mean is, like Tom Cruise, right? He's single. What single red-blooded male on the planet says, nah, I don't want to go out with Shakira? I think any man wants to go out with Shakira. So I'm not surprised if Tom Cruise wants to go out with Shakira. She is an absolute super smoke show, dude. She's not just a smoke show. She is a smoke show on steroids. God, she is gorgeous from every level, dude. Big O, that's what I mean. Maybe ESPN learned from their mistakes, from how they dealt with Lebeter and Stugotz. Who knows? No, dude. No, look at their programming. Just watch their programming. Watch the people that are on and the lanes they have to stay in and all that. It's ESPN is just, it's straight up garbage, bro. That's all. It's straight up fluff bullshit. Once you get past a couple of the insiders that break some news, I don't want to hear anything else pretty much. I don't want to hear their analysis. I don't want to hear their news delivery. I don't want to hear anything. I got to be honest. After Schefter breaks a story or Woj or something, I'm out. I don't need to hear anymore. That's all I want to hear. Okay, what story? Oh, okay, great. Boom, I'm out. I want nothing to do with almost anything else ESPN, pretty much. None of their talk shows do anything for me at all, bro. Not one of them. Yes, sir.
No, what I was going to say was he may be using them also for the production house of ESPN. Because
yeah.
I believe, again, that's all coming out of McAfee right now. Their show's 5 days a week, and if they do anything else.
Money, resources. That's all. But why not go back to FanDuel and try to create it with, see, that's what I would do. I would work with FanDuel instead, because FanDuel lets you be yourself. And that's what I love about the relationship he has with FanDuel. ESPN's not going to let you be yourself because they're the mouse, bro. They're ESPN and Disney and everything else. And you got to, they got to worry about all of that. So no. But you're right. It's probably about money, But God, that show gets enough traction. What are you going to do? Next is Paige Sporanic getting a show on ESPN. No, don't do that. She'll never be able to dress up the right way. All of a sudden now she's got turtlenecks on when she's on ESPN. Get the hell out of here. No, dude. We like Paige Sporanic the way Paige Sporanic is. Okay? We like her showing us her swing and how she has to, get her arms together, squeezing those boobs tight, exploding off the top. So she can't do that on ESPN. Now you want to ruin Paige Sporanic for us. What's wrong? I should block you for that suggestion. Gordon says there is no way in hell Shakira converts to Scientology. Too Extreme says Tom Cruise and Shakira were at the F1 in Miami together. They are already together, the lucky dog he is. Are you sure? I don't know about that. Big O, they are saying that the Utes, the humidity, etc. at the Heat, what the hell happened to the game once they forgot to turn on the AC at the Garden? LOL. My dog wants to go out with Shakira. That's a smart dog. Okay. Finn's Frankfurt in Chief says across the pond sports talk. Yes, we know, my man. We know. We know Moss. We got you. Will Pat McAfee be being wearing an ESPN branded T-shirt? Or does he have to wear a suit? Well, he certainly ain't wearing no cut off wife beaters and shit like that. And you know the way he dresses on that show, that's gone. It's just they take over, dude, and they tell you pretty much everything to do, and you know that's. What a shame, bro. What a shame. Yeah, he had such a good thing going. All right, let's take a quick break. Hour number 3 is next. Omar Kelly will join us with our essentialmovingexperts.com Miami Dolphins exchange.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Well, Sorcondo, as a result of a hurricane, Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CS, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop. There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com. point statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. Time to talk Aqua and Orange, Miami Dolphins fans. It's the Essential Moving Experts Miami Dolphins Exchange with Omar Kelly. When you're looking to move your home or business anywhere in the U.S. from coast to coast, call Essential Moving Experts at 305-602-8369. Flat rates and no surprise charges. EssentialMovingExperts.com. 305-602-8369. Let's talk Dolphins football. Here's Omar Kelly.
All right, there he is. You ready to rock and roll, my man? How you doing this afternoon?
I'm good, man. It's a Wednesday. It's the day before the schedule is released. The NFL is teasing everybody, dropping a nugget here and there, trying to steal the NBA playoff shine. It's an elimination night for the Heat and the Panthers. It's a good day in South Florida. Rookie camps 2 days away.
Having said all that, you expect Tyler Kroft to catch 1,000 or 1,400 yards?
If he catches 20 passes this season, I'd be surprised. I'll
go with 10.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very curious about who's going to be that second tight end. Really, you could say the third tight end as well, because I see I would see a Saubert and Kroft are competing for one spot, and then you've got the rookie Elijah Higgins and Tanner Connor competing for that other spot, that flex role, Tanner Connor. So, may the best man win. I think there's a chance all of them are still with the team on the practice squad. So we'll figure it out somehow, some way. But I agree with you. I don't think the tight end role will be substantial this year.
I already told you what's going on.
Yeah.
Told you there's an experiment on the right side off the line with those two cats. And that's where I'm not saying either one's making the team, because I don't think that Tanner Connor gets that luxury this year that he had last year. With getting Higgy with it here on the team now, one of those two guys needs to shine off-ball tight end, and if they do, then that's kind of going to be your real main playmaker from that position. Whereas the other guy, Smythe or whatever, will be, the blocking and then occasional pass catcher, that kind of thing. But I think it's
in mind, and everybody disrespects Durham Smythe,
right? Since he can't find his Kelsey or his Kittles or whatever, or the guy they tried to trade from the Raiders that is now in Washington. Since he can't find that tight end, I think he's doing this experiment thing where he has his blocking guys and Saubert, Kroft, and Smythe, and then the two pass catchers there. And then that's kind of what this experiment is all about. That's what I think is happening, bro.
Listen,
I really do.
It's funny because I'm doing a breakdown right now of kind of roles and what we should expect, the key competition for these rookies since camp is on the horizon. And part of my lead is about Tanner Connor. Why can I never remember which one his name is? Tanner Connor. And it's how he had a very effective, dominant week of practice, which pretty much earned him a spot on the 53-man roster. Those kind of guys you kind of want to continue to invest in, because at any point, keep in mind, the Dolphins could have just needed a roster spot and demoted him to the practice squad and stashed him there. No, they didn't want to expose him.
Right.
They didn't want to expose him for the possibility that somebody who'd been paying attention would try to poach him. So, and I like players like that because he flashed. There was no denying he flashed. He flashed more than Eric Uzukama, he was, you would think he was Mike Gesicki out there, the way he was making plays. Now, it didn't translate to the field, but you could clearly see that that's a vision that they have for this team, that this is something that they want to do, this wide receiver tight end convert. Now, the question is, can he pretend like he could be a blocker? We'll see.
He doesn't have to. You got it. Bro, stop with that shit. Higgy and Tanner are not here to block.
Yeah, and neither was Mike Gesicki, but they kept trying.
That's not what this experiment is for. This one is not. This is not an inline tight end. This is an offline tight end. These two guys aren't really going to be inline.
If it's called a tight end, you got to block at some point. It's part of the job.
Not really. 80%. 80%
of the job.
80% of the league doesn't block. So
it's 2/3 of the job.
There's a shitload of tight ends running around that don't block, bro. So they don't use them to block. They use them as big ass wide receivers. It's just that there's only a couple of those guys, and they can't find the one guy. So I think they're creating the two positions, and that's why I tell you that Tanner's going to have to earn it, because Higgins will take it away from him this year. Last year he had nobody that could be intriguing enough to compete with him at that spot. Well, they went and found another guy now this year. So now only one of those guys is going to make this roster. I don't think you'll disagree with that, right?
One practice squad. I always consider practice squad. Now the practice squad, they'll be here and they'll be invested if they earn that spot, if they're a keeper.
Dolphins, Germany. Your thoughts on the Dolphins going to Germany?
Love it. Been to London a ridiculous amount of times. Why not try Germany? I wanted them to go to Barcelona when the league was going last year. So Germany, excited about it. It's new. It's unique. I know Steve Ross loves those international games. He raises his hand every time he's at the owners' meeting, like, hey, I want to be part of those international games. So it benefits his brand. He's all down.
And Jets and Dolphins on Black Friday. So while you're in line trying to get that Best Buy stereo at 4 a.m.
If we're throwing football on Black Friday, ain't nobody going out on to the stores. I
know that's what you do religiously every Black Friday. So that's why I'm wondering, what are you going to do? Now you're going to be torn away from shopping that day.
You know what? I used to be a Black Friday shopper in the morning at the smaller stores like a Radio Shack or something like that. Like, don't put that on me, man. Don't put that on me.
Radio Shack.
Yeah.
Your Black Friday at the Tandy Company? Holy crap.
Listen, Radio Shack was good to me for many years. You get to buy some electronic vehicles for your nephews. Now most of my nephews are in college, so I don't know.
I miss Radio Shack, actually.
Huh?
I love Radio Shack. I miss Radio Shack.
Where can you go if you need a plug for something?
You got to go now to like Best Buy or Walmart or hope that Walgreens has it. But
you got to order it on Amazon. That's what you got to do. But you got to know
Yeah,
but you got to know what plug you need. You got to know what plug you need.
No, I know. I used to love Radio Shack, bro. God, Radio Shack was freaking awesome. Black Friday Radio Shack, and they're all gone, right? All the Radio Shacks are gone, right?
They're all gone.
They don't exist anymore. I know they've gone at least from this area. I don't know if there's left.
Man, the brick and mortar store is, whoo.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah.
Yeah, online has killed everything. So, is this a sign that the Dolphins are becoming a sexier team to the league?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be a sexier team. Most people expect them to improve on the defense. They've got rid of the dead weight. They've hired a real defensive coordinator. They've added key players. Jalen Ramsey is a marquee guy. Then you got Tua, who say whatever you want, and I sit here and argue with people all the time. Number one rated quarterback, passer rated in the NFL. And if he hadn't gotten hurt, he probably still would have been the number one passer rated in the NFL. If not statistically up there with the MVPs in the MVP conversation. So everybody talks about his December games, and I look at that as an aberration. We'll see how the season pans out.
Yeah, I listen. Obviously, they should be one of the more attractive teams, out there. So I'm glad that they're getting that opportunity. Now they got to live up to it, right? Because that's kind of
the question is, are they going to get more national games than the Jets? Are they going to get more national games than the Jets? I don't know.
No. New York. No.
Yeah. New York, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
Yeah. Once you're in New York or Los Angeles and you get some kind of something that's sexy or buzzy, you're going to, and especially New York, they're the number one market. You're always going to, look, bro, look at the Knicks. Like, we had Knicks fans thinking that their team was actually special. And I had to kind of see, the problem is the Knicks fans aren't really smart because they haven't seen really good basketball in decades. So they don't really know what really good basketball is. And they come into this series all cocky.
Let's not pretend like the Heat have been showing good basketball most of the season.
I know, but they're the proven franchise, and they're proving it again, right? They are headed to their third Eastern Conference Finals in 4 years.
That's ridiculous. Crazy.
Right.
It just shows, I think this playoff series.
But what I'm saying is the Dolphins, you're becoming sexy. Your job now is to live up to it, because you're not New York, you're not Los Angeles, you're not Chicago, you're not the Dallas Cowboys. So if you don't maintain sexiness, bro, they're going to knock you off that perch.
All you're going to hear is see, look, see, look, see. And that's understandable. This is a chips all into the table, supposedly, season. I don't really think chips are all in. Show me a tackle and an upgraded running back, and then I'll say chips all in. But you should be. Somebody asked me today in the grocery store, are they a 10-win team? And asked me, how good do I think they'll be? And I said the easy answer is they're a 10-win team. And I look at the Wanstead era, and everybody turns their nose up at the Wanstead era, just like they turned their nose up at the Larry Coker era, which were both the last instances these franchises were relevant for long periods of time. Back in the Wanstead era, 9, 10, 11 wins. That was just the norm. Look how long it's been since we've gotten there. Now we've had That was a norm because you had a defense that would get you there. That Jimmy left him with that defense. It was the norm, though. Don't disrespect Wanstead.
But Wani didn't figure out the offense. That was Wani's problem. That's why he failed.
You act like anybody's figured out the offense in the last 20 years.
I thought I saw the number one. I thought this guy just figured it out. He has the number one rated.
Till this guy. It's been 2 decades now. This guy.
Well, that's my point. That you've had coaches figure it out. Huh?
And he's got to do it again. You're not getting a genius label till you do it again. No one season genius label.
That's fair enough. I believe he's going to easily do it again, but that's fair enough.
Yes, we shall see. I'm not saying that he's not, because I was really impressed with what I saw from year one. Obviously, Tyreek helps, but I need to see, like, there was a question at the end of the season: had teams figured you out? And you need to counter that. And you need to prove that genius label. You can't come back with what you did last year. You got to build on that.
No, I disagree with you. I think the coach burned himself last year by not running the ball more, because that's what would have sucked up the middle of the defense, and linebackers wouldn't have been able to, drift back into the middle of the defense. So you need to run the ball more so you can bring in those linebackers. And then at the same time, you gotta get some other people involved, like the tight end. You got to get that guy involved a little bit more too, so you can keep that that defense and those linebackers a little busy.
Yes.
And I think A-Chain is there too, so you don't overwork Mostert as a runner and as a receiver. And because Jeff Wilson is not the dynamic receiver that Mostert is, he figures he needs another receiver out of the backfield, and that's why A-Chain was brought here. So that way you can alleviate some of the load, because Mostert has kind of a cap. You know, it's like 16 carries. When you get to that area, you want to kind of stop with him. You don't want to go into the 18, 20, 22 area because he's an injury-prone guy. So you want to kind of keep him as fresh as possible. I think Mike McDaniel, while he was the best you've seen here, at times he was also his own worst enemy by not utilizing a running game that averaged 4.5 yards a carry. And when it was successful, he wasn't milking it enough. And then those kind of things happened to him because he became so predictable that he was pushing the ball downfield too much.
Well, Jeff Wilson, you said something, and I had to look it up because I was curious. He was basically, his most targeted year was 37 targets, 22 receptions for 185. So, and that was the season he produced 1,145 yards, scrimmage yards, which was pretty impressive. But that's his best season, and that was the year Mostert was hurt. Oh, no, actually, I'm sorry. That was last year.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, last year was his best year in the NFL?
Yeah. He's not a dynamic receiver. He's a really good running back. He does a good job running the ball.
I'm talking about all productivity. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, well, but I like him more as a runner than a receiver, and that's where this kid comes in. A-Chain and Mostert as receivers are going to be obviously supremely dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
What did Wilson have last year in receptions?
22 receptions for 185 yards and 1 touchdown. That 1 touchdown came with Miami. 12 receptions for 94 yards with Miami. It's not bad. Damn, he got a three touchdown receptions in 2020 on 13 catches. That's pretty good. Pretty impressive.
Red zone. Yeah, red zone. Because that's where you use them. But outside of the red zone, when you're more in the open field, you're going to want a Mostert or an A-Chain. And I think that's what his vision is. And that's why, that's why I think he was adding more dynamic out of that. That's why he was so excited too. You can tell, dude. You could tell that guy was super motivated for A-Chain. Holy shit. I don't think I've seen a coach act like that about a player.
He was overreacting because he was underreacting the last time. Let's not.
I don't know. I think the speed that kid brings to the table excited the shit out of that coach. And
no, absolutely, no question.
That scientist is going. I'm thinking I'm excited myself, dude. Hill, Waddle, and Mostert and A-Chain out of the backfield on passing downs. That's a terror, bro.
Let's calm down until I actually see him. Like, I'm not one of those guys that just get all excited about a name and a 40 time. I'm just not.
No, but I've seen the player. You've seen the player. If you watch a little college football,
listen, you can't do that. We can't do that.
No, I can do that. Do you know why, Omar? He's not the guy they're focused on defense. They're going to be worried about Hill. They're going to be worried about Waddle, and they're going to be worried about Mostert first and foremost.
And the Chiefs had about 4 or 5 of those guys, speedsters, back in the Chiefs days.
Nobody has 4 guys to stay with those 4 guys. Nobody. Okay? And whoever you want to double, have fun. Because then Waddle, Mostert, and A-Chain are going to be available. That's fine. You don't have to get excited. I can get excited. I
can go for it.
Yeah, bro. That's going to be one hell of a mismatch out there for any defense, because I just don't see anybody that can stay with those guys, all 4 guys. That's going to be, and you're going to have to try to double somebody, Omar, and then that'll be more.
Yeah, I mean, that's how Waddle got what he got. Like, it's right. Yeah, a lot of people should be eating. The question is, in this offense, it's about making one guy miss. Okay,
right.
You make one guy miss, you should eat.
And those are all guys that can make people miss. So that's the good thing. The Croft guy, by the way, all joking aside, just a blocker, right? That's kind of what they brought in. More than anything else.
Pretty dynamic. I looked at some of his plays, especially last year with the Jets. Like he was a big target for Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson couldn't find anybody but the tight end. So
I thought all the MILFs were his tight ends. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. The MILFs that he chases around.
Wow. Let that man live. Let that man listen. He's the number 2 quarterback.
He's living, bro. He's living. He's chasing MILFs around. Nothing wrong with that.
Let that man live his life. Like, listen. Yeah.
Bang that MILF.
Very disappointing for the Jets, but they don't care. They moved on. If that happened to Dolphins, the nation would be in a tizzy because just like Dolphins gave up on Josh Rosen.
And Pat White and John Beck and many others that they've drafted and given up on right away, bro. That would be the norm around here, actually, that we draft a guy and they give up on him right away. Like, wow, they drafted that guy can't play. Holy shit. Wait a minute. Rick Spielman has a better arm than Josh Heupel. This happens all the time here. And
you talk about don't bring up history. Yep, see, I'm traumatized by
history. You're talking about history. I'm not talking about now. You're the one living in history. I'm not saying anything about now at all. You just talked about the past, that drafting a quarterback that would fail, that would be the norm. Yeah, that used to be the norm.
Let me ask you this question.
I'm not kidding. Rick Spielman did have a better arm than Josh Heupel.
I believe you. I believe you.
No, I saw it. The guy that drafted him had a better arm than the guy he drafted. Wow. I've never seen that. That was a new norm.
Was what, a late round pick?
6th or 7th round, one of the two out of Oklahoma. I want to say 6th or 7th round. Look it up for me, Sean. I'm going to say 6th round pick was Josh Heupel.
I believe you're right.
And we stood out.
Isn't he a coach now?
Yes. Yeah, he's a damn good coach.
Yeah. Those quarterbacks.
He's in Tennessee, right? Is it Tennessee where Heupel's at? Then Heupel, that's where they had a good year. I think Heupel's
literally all you got to be is a good college quarterback to work up the ranks fast in the coaching world.
Well, you got to recruit too. What do we got, Sean?
6th round, 177th pick.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that.
So let me ask you a question. Which rookie do you expect to have like a productive season? Because it's been a while.
A-Chain. Cam is a backup right now.
As a third running back?
Yeah, well, I don't think he's the third running back, but he's going to be one of your top pass catchers out of the backfield. So I'm going to go with him because the other two guys are late picks. And then Cam, unfortunately, this is a year where he kind of learns more than anything and fills in some.
He'll be out there. He'll be out there filling in.
But I don't know how much he's going to play to have a breakout because he's got two monsters in front of him, and he's more of an edge guy than he is inside. And so I think when he plays a lot, it'll be on the outside when X is resting or it's a blowout or Jalen is moving inside or something.
I'm like, you give that kid a series for each of those vets a game, and you're going to have a great investment in a young player because he's going to get he's going to see things that he's not going to see. He's going to have film to break down. He's going to walk away with probably about 10 to 15 snaps a game. You got to give him a series. You got to give him a series a game.
I agree with you, but the only problem is I think A-Chain is going to get 5 to 10 carries a game, and he's probably going to get about 5 catches in a game. And
10 touches from a rookie?
5 to 10. Yes. I think he's going to get 5 to 10 5 to 10 runs in a game. Yes.
We got to see it. So I got to see him tear up training camp. I got to see him do well in the exhibition season before I start giving him 5 to 10 carries. That's a lot.
Yeah. I think you're underestimating what kind of a weapon this is going to be to this offense. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm not into gadget players, so
from what I'm hearing, he could be a nice part of this whole thing. Bigger part than what people think. So, because of the limitations of one young man, because of the monsters he has in front of him, and because A-Chain actually has a role that they're really looking for him to fill, I think A-Chain is the one out of the 4 that has the breakout. Yeah. There's only 4, bro. So I don't have a lot of choices. So I got to go with A-Chain.
It's gonna be about 10 that make this team. So let's.
Oh no, but you're asking me. I'm talking only about the 4 draft picks. You asked me which rookie. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah. On the undrafted guys, I got to see them first to start, because I am that is one thing I am intrigued. And you as a writer, that also has to be kind of fun, right? That now that your front office every year, you can't just say, oh, well, these undrafted guys, they're just guys and they're here to be training camp. No, 1 or 2 of those guys are going to shine.
I that's one of my favorite parts of training camp is seeing which one of those guys the light bulb comes on, which is what I'm pretty much writing about. There will be one. There will be a Nick Needham or Tanner Connor that somebody just starts. I love the it's usually the 3rd week of training camp or the practice right after the exhibition game where that rookie realizes, hey man, this is football. I've been playing this my whole life. That guy ain't that much better than me. Let me go out there and actually ball out. I remember AJ Francis. McCain. There was a pass rusher, McCain. I love when those rookies just like sit there and they're like, wait a minute, these guys ain't that much better than me, and start throwing people around. Tanner Connor, whatever the hell his name is. Tanner Connor. Yeah. Just, very dominant week of practice, which
he ran like a deer, and we're like, holy shit, that guy can fly. And so that was the thing that stood out about Tanner, that he's got
just made plays. He developed chemistry with Skyler, and he was just making plays and plays and plays to the point where he was practicing over Mike Gesicki, and we were all like, what's going on here? And lo and behold, we see what happened.
What do you got going on Sports Illustrated so folks can check you out, my man?
Right now, I'm doing this rookie breakdown. I'm trying to get us ready for rookie camp, which is this weekend. I hate the fact that it's always on Mother's Day weekend. I'm not really prepared for Mother's Day. I've got 2 gifts, but you know what? One year, we as men, we should give Mother's Day the same kind of last minute attention and effort and focus that they give Father's Day. You probably have all awesome Father's Days.
No. I do have an awesome Father's Day because I just hang out with my family, so I'm good. Yeah, but you know what? I don't really care about any of the presents, to be honest with you. I don't care about any of that.
No, I don't either. But it's the stress of. I always have this stress of, is it good enough? Is it good enough? Am I the only one?
I worry about that more. I got to be honest. I worry about that more for the wedding anniversary than I do Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, or Christmas.
My wife never
really
remembers.
Worry about is the wedding. The other ones I give a present and whatever. But the wedding one is the one that I
need really to get to that point where I always overdo it and then sit there stressing about, is it good enough? And then she gives some weak ass effort like maybe she gets something on her way home from work. And it's like, bro, I spent like 3 weeks stressing about whatever this is, and your effort is just like, I'll mail it in. I'm like,
well, remember your wife's a nurse, so she has a gift shop in the hospital. So she always has like a fallback plan. So she, because they always have, the gift shops in the hospital are loaded because everybody shows up at the hospital. Let me go to the gift shop before I go to that room. And then they buy something at the gift shop to take it up to the room, right? So, we busted her. We know what she's doing. She's hitting the hospital gift shop.
So that's why I got to go to their gift shop and make sure they don't have a lot of gift cards. I'm a gift card getter, and I'm like, this is just weak sauce. But it's my birthday next week too. I think. Yes, it is next
week. Okay.
Yeah, next week Tuesday. I share Janet Jackson's birthday.
Okay.
So, but yeah, and I'm sure her
Janet Jackson, but that's another story.
I do you know if she's coming to town here? Because I know she's on a tour.
No, I have no. I haven't. I went to her concert, one of her concerts, like 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, it's on my bucket list. But
have you ever seen her in concert?
No, I haven't. I've seen a movie of her in concert, but I've never seen her live in concert. I mean, yeah, it's on the list, but
yeah, I mean, Janet's a classic, man, and she still looks good too. By the way, she takes care of herself. Still looks pretty good.
For a 50-year-old woman, you're right.
Yeah, man, shit. A lot better than me, that's for damn sure. Anyway, what do you got going on? You said at Sports Illustrated, so folks can check you out.
Breakdown of the rookies' expectations, roles, what undrafted rookies might be contributing this year. Who's going to be your Tanner Connor?
Okay. And you know what? Somebody also, I'd be remiss if I did not mention. Let's see. Is that the person? Somebody had a message for you. Can you tell Omar that the lead saxophone player from Casey and the Sunshine Band is the best band director in South Florida? He's at Robert Morgan now, and his name is Eugene Timmons. He's a South Florida legend.
No way! Robert Morgan, Eugene Timmons?
Okay, I had no idea why they sent me that, but I figured I'd read it to you because and I guess why'd you react that way? What's the connection there?
So, because Casey and the Sunshine Band, my daughter's obsession.
Yeah. But the Morgan Timmons thing, what's the deal?
I don't know, Eugene Timmons, because now he's creating music. He's here.
Okay. All right. I thought maybe you went to this place or you knew something about this place.
No. I'm just trying to figure out. Maybe he's got other music interesting. That's interesting. I come from a big band school. Carol City's a big band school, so I had no idea that this man was in the backyard.
Okay. Where's Robert?
You told me Casey and Sunshine Band is Hialeah, so.
Right. Where's Robert Morgan? That's why I don't know. Where's
Robert Morgan is down south. It's like
I don't know anything.
Yeah, it's down south, like in that Coral Reef area.
That's the name of a school, Robert Morgan?
Yeah, Robert Morgan High. He's a band director.
High school, not a music
band director at a high school.
Oh, okay. I had no idea there was a high school named Robert Morgan. Never heard of it in my life.
It's like it's alternative school. They teach you mechanics and teach you trades.
Okay. All right. I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, figured I'd pass that Casey and the Sunshine Nugget.
I need to see Casey and the Sunshine Band. Somebody in South Florida when you're putting together a concert, Hollywood, Dania. Somebody's got to put a concert together and have Casey and the Sunshine Band because my daughter.
He's always here at least once every 2 years, so I'm sure you'll get a Casey date soon enough at one point or another.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna look it up right now. Where does Casey and the Sunshine Band perform?
Yeah, just go to their website. It'll tell you tour dates. Yeah.
They got a website?
Of course. Yeah, I'm sure they do. All right, follow him on Twitter at Omar Kelly and catch his exceptional work there with Alan Poupar at Sports Illustrated, and catch their podcast too. They go at it there once a week, so you can catch a little Dolphins talk there also. Omar, as always, thank you. Have a great week, my
Just
friend.
found the website.
There you go. Some tour dates? Does it say tour dates?
Shows. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Not coming to Miami anytime soon.
No FLs right now? Okay.
Nope.
Don't worry. Eventually,
there's a request a show button, so I'm gonna request a show. Goddamn.
There you go. Request Harry a show. Tell him that. What is it? Harry Wayne Casey, I think is his name, or something like that. Yeah. Make sure you request Mr. Casey a show. All right.
All righty.
All right, doggy. We will catch up next week. Have a great week, my friend. Appreciate you.
All right.
Thank you. There you go. There's my man, Omar Kelly, baby. Robert Morgan is a vocational school. It's down near Cutler Ridge. I think it's been there forever. You know, now that I keep you keep mentioning it, it's starting to ring a bell. Robert Morgan, you know, it's starting to ring a bell. Maybe I have heard of it. Just maybe I forgot completely about it. I knew it was over when one Valentine's in college, I bought my girlfriend a $300 necklace, and she got me a $30 gas station wristwatch. Some of those wristwatches are pretty cool at the gas station, so I gotta admit. Dude, I had to buy my own Christmas present, but at least she wrapped it then for me. Casey and the Sunshine Band is one of the only bands that makes me hate the 70s music. Oh, come on. It's a classic jam. Casey. Plenty of great hits there, man. So Robert De Niro just had his 7th baby. The dude is 79 years old, and he's still pumping kids out. Tiffany Chen, his girlfriend, who he met in 2015 on the set of The Intern. They've been together, obviously, for several years. So this is his 7th child. He's got an adopted daughter who's 51 years old. Her name is Drana. He's got a son named Raphael who's 46. He's got twins, Aaron and Julian, 27. He's got another son, Elliot, 25, and a daughter, Helen, who's 11. This guy he's left a legacy in acting, and he's left a legacy of a family. And by the way, he's got 7 kids with 4 different women. Okay? 7 kids, 4 different women, dude. My man is getting busy. Holy shit. Man. Whew. I told my wife, well, we both agreed to it, but we got 1 kid out and we shut the factory down. But I don't have his money. So, yeah. And I probably wouldn't do it with 4 women. I'd like to, and I really wouldn't have 7 kids. God, put 1 woman through the hell of 7 kids. Yeah, no. I probably would have had a couple more if I had, money and I was comfortable. But that's the one thing my wife and I said, we got 1 and we can give her anything and everything she needs. If we can't do that with every kid, then no, let's not do it. So we stayed with the 1. My man has some serious soldiers. Yeah, dude, at 79, that is strong. Okay. USA Today says Marlins have the cheapest hot dogs, also a lot safer than a hot dog at a Dairy Queen at a gas station. On the Panhandle. Make sure you mention the Panhandle. You can't leave the Panhandle out, Nyborg. It's very important for context. Okay? Chris Doherty says, Big O, Chris from upstate New York again. How do you feel about A-Chain possibly being a returner? We know we don't want Waddle or Hill there. Just a thought. He's already a returner, my brother. This is the way I look at it. And I've been telling you this from the get-go. A-Chain will be your kickoff returner, and Berrios will be your punt returner. That's what I think is going to happen. And then A-Chain will be your change of pace back out of the backfield. You'll use Mostert and Wilson to run a lot and alternate in different drives. And then you'll use Mostert also as a receiver. Wilson will be used sparingly now, very sparingly as a receiver, whereas A-Chain now will be, in combination with Mostert and in combination with Wilson. And A-Chain will carry the ball. He's a tough kid. And I know Omar's freaking out, but mark my words, 5 to 10 carries a game. Mark my words. A-Chain will have 5 to 10 carries a game. He will catch balls out of the backfield, and he will be your kickoff returner. That, I believe, will be his role on this team. Time will tell. Time will answer all, and we'll figure it out. But for now, for shits and giggles, to have some fun and talk about this, this is what I think A-Chain is going to look like in this offense. What else do we have? Viagra's a hell of a drug. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It gets the now remember, are we sure that De Niro placed it in there the natural way? Are we sure of that? Dude is 80 years old. You know what I'm saying? Now, could it be, what's that? Is that called in vitro or whatever? That, when they get your sperm cells and then they put they get the egg and then they put it together, then they put it inside the woman. What, in vitro, I think it's called, or something like that. Maybe, is that the deal? And we don't know about it. We're not told or anything, because it's not like he's having a kid, but did he really actually have sex to have the kid? Or was it done medically? You know what I'm saying? And that's something that we won't know unless they tell us. It's not like they're going to be talking publicly about it, He did say, like they asked him, did he get it by surprise? He was a surprise. No, of course, this is something you have to plan. So that's the thing. It was already planned. I mean, at 79, how are you planning anything? How do you even know it works? How do you even know you're not firing blanks at that point? Let's see. I think it'll be 10 to 12 touches a game, running catches, not including special teams. Yeah, I could see exactly that. 5 to 10 runs. So let's say it's about 5 runs, 6 runs, and then you have another, 4 or 5 catches. Yeah, I can see where you can be in that area. I agree, Jason. I agree. What sucks is that the artificial insemination is sometimes switched and you get someone else. Oh, someone else's kids. Yeah, but some tells me in the De Niro case, kind of different. I kind of feel that these kind of people get completely different treatment than you and I would. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. Today, by the way, to give you a couple of, we do have a couple of music notes in music history. First of all, we can start off with today in music history. On this date in 86, Motley Crue drummer Tommy Lee married Heather Locklear. The nuptials took place in front of 500 guests in Santa Barbara, California, Tommy wore a white leather tuxedo. In 94 on this date, Weezer released her self-titled album, The Blue Album. In 2011 on this date, the Cars released Move Like This, their first album in 24 years. The fact that we no longer have Benjamin Orr or Rick Ocasek, I never got to see the Cars, man, live. That was one on my bucket list. And they did a 10-city tour years ago up north, and I wanted to go to one of them, and I couldn't go. Just regrets, man. Regrets. In 1985 on this date, the Go-Go's announced they were breaking up. There you go. Always said this for the Go-Go's when they broke up in 85. And it's funny, right? Because what happens in a divorce? Okay, you get divorced, right? All of a sudden, the man and the woman, they start working out. They start getting in shape. They start trying to look as best as they possibly can because they're back out on the market again. They've got to attract people, all that kind of stuff, right? Anybody notice, those of you that are old enough, that when the Go-Go's broke up, Belinda Carlisle looked her best? She went on that solo career, dyed her hair with that reddish hair or whatever, and she lost weight. She looked awesome, dude. Okay? Just go look at the Go-Go's right at the end of Vacation. No, not Vacation. Yeah, Vacation or that third album, whatever the Head Over Heels or whatever or something, whatever it was, that one song that they had in that album that was a hit. And, you know, she was always kind of a little chubby, right? And then look at her when she does the videos on her solo album right after. And it was like a divorce. And I got to give her credit. She looked great. Great. It was her best look ever. You know? Kind of funny. I had never noticed that part of a band breakup, you know? Ozzy looked the same when he broke up with Black Sabbath and went on his own, you know what I mean? It's not like anything changed or anybody, you know, Natalie Merchant leaves 10,000 Maniacs. She looks the same, you know, and there was no like drastic change and looking all hot after. And no. But with Belinda Carlisle, she did pull off that typical male female divorce thing that happens to couples after they part ways. By the way, Chicago has announced a U.S. tour, 60 dates. They will start in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania on November 11th. Okay. I'm sorry, they will wrap it up in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, November 11th. They will start in Milwaukee on May 9th. So be ready. Wisconsin and New York and Jersey and all kinds of places, Arizona, California, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Texas. By the way, they will wrap it up in Pennsylvania on November 11th, but they will have 4 dates here in our state of Florida. October 3rd at Daytona Beach, October 4th at Hollywood Hard Rock Seminole Casino, October 6th, Tallahassee, Donald L. Tucker Civic Center, and October 7th, Clearwater, The Sound. I've never been there. The Sound in Clearwater. If we have any listeners in Central Florida, they're on the west side, what is The Sound like? Give me a scouting report. By the way, if you haven't seen this version of Chicago, it is excellent. They do a very good job. They sound awesome. I know they have no Peter Cetera, but they still sound really good, singing all the tunes, and the band is super tight. So if you do enjoy the music of Chicago, I strongly suggest that you will enjoy that Chicago band that's out there touring, man. It's a really good band, complete. It's got like 8-10 guys out there, so they're playing all the instruments, so the sound is full, man. And they're tight, really, really tight. Sounds really, really good. It's well worth it. Even Toto, who's lost a couple of their singers, when you go see them, they still sound good. Okay, still led, by the main guy, which is important, but the musicians that he has surrounded himself with are absolutely exceptional. Go-Go's broke up, made it a no-go. Exactly. That is correct, sir. Ray says, yes, sir. On the Mad About You first solo album, she lost tons of weight back in 89 or 90. I think it might have been even earlier than that. It might have been like 87. But she's a smoke show there, dude. Smoke show. Yeah. Heaven's found a place on earth and all that. And Mad About You and all that. Go look at those videos and then compare the end run of her and the Go-Go's in the third album, and you'll see like night and day, and you'll go, holy shit, dude. Like, wow, what a transformation, It's kind of funny. It just reminds you of, normally people when they get divorced. That's exactly the way it goes. What do we got going on in the markets today? Let me see. Yeah, Bitcoin, after this after the CPI came out, slightly lower, not drastic, slightly lower. I thought the markets would pump a little bit more, but it didn't, dude. It went a little over 28, but did not move that much. Jasmine went up to 55. Okay. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo, and we always appreciate it. Rod Romero, thank you, sir, for a little love on Venmo. He says, happy to support the show. Keep up the great work. Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Really appreciate it. As always, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. Let me see if I missed any super chats here. The last one was Knight. Do you think football will ever be an Olympic sport? I don't think I read this one. Knight, thank you for the love on the super chat. No, I don't think so. I mean, well, maybe 100 years from now. Like I told you, over the next couple of decades, I think the NFL will expand into Europe. And then at the same time, that will inspire plenty of young people and maybe even high schools all over, different countries to start to add the game of football to their curriculum. And then you can start to breed football players from very young age and up. But again, that's going to take decades to develop if that happens. So maybe 100 years from now, football can become an Olympic sport. I doubt it. But you never know, dude. Stranger things have happened. So it's a possibility. Let me see if there's any other super chats I forgot after that. Okay. I don't see any more after that. Sean, if I missed anything before that last one from Knight, please tell me and bring it up so I can answer the question. Apologies for missing that one, man. Okay. Jabilia says, took advantage of the dip and bought 330,000 more Jasmine coin on my way to 1 million. Damn, dude. Holy shit. That's impressive. That's impressive, dude. That's impressive because it's a nice dip right now for Jasmine. So you did a really smart thing. I mean, I did the same thing this morning. I got it at 53. So, let's hope that we made the right decision, right? But I love my chances here with Jasmine. I really do, man. I think it's going to explode when it's all said and done. Let's see. Big O, if you ripped into Kyle Lowry pretty much all year long, criticized Riley, the front office, Lowry's contributing and playing like a savvy veteran. I'm looking forward to ripping into me. Lowry is still garbage. It's still a horrible signing. He is not worth $30 million. Is he contributing as a role player right now? Yeah, he's contributing as a role player off the bench, but he is straight up garbage, bro. Let's not kid ourselves, okay? We are now settling for a garbage player for $30 million. So Pat Riley effed up in a major way. Jimmy Butler screwed himself by doing all of this. So, the problem with some of you, like Dolphin 13, too many of you are prisoners of the moment, and you get caught up in the moment. Bam played outstanding 2 nights ago, but he didn't play like a franchise player. He played like an exceptional role player, like what he is. And that's why I told you guys, go back and look at the offense. Look how it's not him initiating the offense. It's not him creating the offense. It's everyone else in the offense creating it for him. So all he has to do is finish it with a drive, with an alley-oop, with a putback or whatever. It's not like he's bringing it from the one side of the key all the way down court and faking passes and then driving to the hoop and score. That's not what he's doing. He's not the one generating the offense. He's part of the offense that was generated for him. You know what I mean? And that's how he excels. He's at his best when he's able to defend different parties that aren't big people. And then he assists, sets picks, and then others create for him to finish. And that's what happened the other night. But let's not get it also mixed up. Bam Adebayo is severely overpaid. He's paid to be a franchise player. He's not a franchise player. Okay? And I don't want to hear about Barkov or Bam doing all the little things, because that's the bullshit I hear, because you can't do the big things. And that's what superstars do. Superstars do the big things. Role players do all the little things. And that's my problem with all of that. So let's not get this thing twisted in any way possible. Okay? Kyle Lowry is stealing money without a gun and a mask. He's been stealing money without a gun and a mask since he got to Miami. Okay? And el descarado now gets to come off the bench, play a couple of minutes, and contribute some with no pressure whatsoever. But let's not forget, he's being paid to be a frontline star, something he is not. Anyway, the issue here with us is we're not playing defense and we are not controlling the boards. If we clean up those, we can make a run and come back in this series, but I don't see that happening. Are you talking about the Knicks, I would imagine? And if you're I think you're talking about the Knicks, but here's my problem with Knicks fans and that kind of thinking, Alexander. What history is there? I'm sorry, I must have missed this. Who are the Knicks? Oh, why? Because you guys played defense for a couple of weeks or something this season? Because you did it for 2 months or something in the regular season that doesn't count at all? Where is the history of the Knicks, like being a really good defensive team and being a really good rebounding team and having success year in and year out and going to the playoffs on a consistent basis and being known as a team that can get out of holes and being a tough team or a tough mentally team or a tough-minded team where is that track record? See, that's the problem with some fans, right? And that's a major problem with some of the Knicks fans out there. You haven't done anything at all. You have no track record. This is your track record. What you're doing right now
is what the Knicks do. That if they make the playoffs every once in a while, they're not shit in the playoffs. What, did they beat the Cavs? Who are the Cavs in the playoffs? Who are the Cavs as a franchise? So, Alexander, I appreciate it. I think congrats, a big O on the Heat advancing, and that's great and all that. But there's something about Knicks fans that you get really delusional quickly. You have no track record of being tough. You have no track record of rebounding. You have no track record of defense. You have no track record of anything positive. And in order to do that, it takes several years to prove you do it. Like, it's not one run in the playoffs. It's 2 or 3 runs over the last 5 years. You have none. You get what I'm saying? You have no history of being a good franchise. You have no history of having a great coach, because Tibbs is not a great coach. He's overrated as hell. That's why he wears out his welcome everywhere he goes. So that's the part that I see a delusional aspect of Knicks fans. The Dolphins made the playoffs last year. Alexander, you're also a Dolphins fan. Does it mean that they arrived? Nope. They got to start winning in the playoffs. You got to start doing things in the playoffs so we're the same as the Knicks, as Dolphins. Okay, now we're watching them build something pretty special, and I think they're headed to special things, but have they done them yet? Not yet. You know what I mean? We're hoping. I feel good about this team, but they haven't accomplished shit yet. You know what I mean? It's like what I was telling Omar. It's like we got a couple of primetime games, and they'll probably add another one here, but the Dolphins have to perform this year. If not, guess what happens to our Dolphins? What's happened the last 20 years? Barely any primetime games. Why? Because we don't deserve them. We're not sexy. But we got to get sexy in order to get the response. And it's the same thing I would tell the Knicks fans. Right now, you're doing the same thing that you've done for many, many years. That you're not really much, even if you once in a while you sneak into the playoffs like the Dolphins. You got to get in there and prove it on a consistent basis. And then you can say, well, if we can start to rebound, we can be this, and we can, because we have that track record. But there is no track record. The track record you have is what you're doing now. Usually you're not going to really perform at a high level in the playoffs. Why? Because you're not experienced and proven in the playoffs. Just like our beloved Dolphins. Not experienced and proven in the playoffs. That's where we got to get our team to. Tibbs broke down Rose and almost broke down Butler. Yeah, Tibbs is just an effort coach, man. I definitely agree with you. I think the Finns are on the rise, and I'm excited about this season. I think we win the division. I think so too. But we got to go prove it out there. No matter what I feel in my heart, I have not proven it to anybody out there yet. I do like Brunson a lot. I have a lot of respect for Brunson's the one guy that's wired the right way. I'm not exactly sure about the big guy. What's his name now? I'm brain farting with his ass. Randall. Some about Randall that just, but Brunson, that's a tough little son of a bitch. I have respect for that kid. It's just the problem is you can't thrust him into a number one role because that's not who he is. But if the Knicks had more guys wired like him, they'd be a little scarier. I think Dallas, by the way, I think I said this yesterday or the day before. Dallas has to, Mark Cuban has to look in the mirror and say, Kyrie's way more gifted than Brunson,
But Brunson's the better basketball player, the better leader, the better teammate, the guy, the better professional. You know what I'm saying? And that's the guy you'd rather have on your team. And Dallas was a hell of a lot more successful with that guy next to Jokic than the other idiot. I don't really understand, the people that gravitate to Kyrie and why you would gravitate to that loser, to be quite honest. That's just one of those that I have a hard time understanding, man. So it's a weird dynamic when we talk about that, All right, I think I'm out, man. I don't think I got anything else to say. I mean, we could talk about John Anderson and Zach Whitecloud. That was not good timing. Let's see. You guys got anything here? Give you a couple of seconds here to come in. If you got a question or two you want to send in before we close down. Some games are won and lost with the team that has the better depth. Injuries are part of the game, just like picking up a first down. I'm expecting them to pay for an offensive lineman after June 1st. Yeah, I think the Cameron Fleming guy is the one that's going to come. I think he's the guy because he swings. I think Mavs flushed their future down the drain signing her. Yeah, they probably did. But they haven't re-signed him to a long-term contract. That's the good thing. So they will open up the cap space, and maybe they can find somebody to keep Luka happy. Because at one point or another, Luka's going to have to tell them, yeah, I'm out of here also. Favorite Miami sports team, Big O? Mine is the Fins. No, Fins is always, I live and eat and breathe football, man. So Fins will always be my number one. I love the Heat. I love the Canes, Marlins, Panthers, Inter Miami. I love all my local teams. I'm a fanatic of my local teams. But yeah, the Dolphins are always going to have the edge over everybody. That's can't hide you. I mean, if you listen to me, if you watch me, you can tell it. I'm a football nut first and foremost. Big O, did you Jack Nicholson lately during a Laker? Did I see Jack Nicholson? Man, he doesn't look well. He's old, bro. Jack Nicholson is old, dude. He's got to be what, in his 80s or something? Jack Nicholson, let me see. He's got to be, yeah, dude. He's got to be up there. I mean, he can't be, a young pup anymore here. Born in 1937, dude. He's 86 years old, man. He's 30 years older than I am. You know what? Considering the life he's had, the life he's lived, and he's 86, he's done pretty good, bro. At 86, he's still walking around, going to a Lakers game and shit. Yeah, I don't think Jack Nicholson's doing too bad at 86 years old, man. God bless him, dude. Big O, do the Miami Heat win tonight? Do the Florida Panthers win tonight? Yes, I've got both of them winning tonight. I think I don't think the Knicks are going to give you the fight that you would expect from a team in this position. I think they're kind of beaten down. I think Toronto will be a pain in the ass a little bit early on, but if you're able to fight through the emotions of the first two periods, I think by the third period, Toronto tunes out and you can coast and you can kick, push, and coast. Okay. So as Lupe Fiasco would say, that's what I'm expecting for the Panthers in the third period, to kick, push, and coast. The Heat, I think you can get the Knicks pretty quickly to a point to kick, push, and coast. So we'll see. Appreciate all of you out there. Chris Doherty says, one last thing, Big O. Tua, stay healthy. We win 13 to 14 games. I agree. And King Short says, Godspeed on your recovery, Sean. Amen to that. Tomorrow, I'll be at Hialeah Park. So if you want to come on out and join us, we'll be out there at Hialeah Park having some fun. Remember, we're on tomorrow at 3 p.m. Afternoon show tomorrow. We get to sleep in. We will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel.
This is the Big O Show.